This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purpose only.
Let's have a little bit of this. I get the big Bob Marley joint. Look at this. Here, try this.
Carl, I really don't do this very often.
You're gonna love this. Is dynamite hack. Watch out for this.
Maybe one drag.
Say you're in a Caribbean bungalow and you're kind of high. An exotic woman on the bed.
It's a little harsh.
Now, is she just the high-priced whore you asked for? Or is she an assassin?
Here. Cannonball. Right back.
Here's room service. Who ordered champagne?
How should I know?
Exactly. You're baked. You can't remember.
And then one more, he's right on top of Cannonball. Cannonball coming.
Point is, you come out of the John waving this around, nobody's gonna bug you for a tip.
Boom, boom. What's up? I'd say everybody, but we only got 3, 4 motherfuckers. What's going on, Wyatt? All right. Wow. A lot of information on this Andrew Bustamante dude, who him and his wife, this is the CIA staff officer who claims to have been a covert operative, literally on every continent except Antarctica, is what he said on the Sean Ryan show. This dude's a goof. Shit show, what's going on, man? Yeah, this dude's a fucking goofball. He's big. He gets on a lot of fucking podcasts, and he gets a lot of fucking eyeballs on him. The podcasts he goes on are weird ones, though. They seem weird. They seem like fucking plants, you know, but it's interesting going through this. I'm not going to dox this guy's addresses, but it's everything from like his voter registration address is to a business, some marine business. And the LLC is just some weird thing. I'm not going to give these addresses. They do a couple of things. So my thinking on this was, okay, I'm not trying to, in no way, I will go over this guy's claims. I'm not saying anything other than what it is, what the information is. I'm not calling this dude stolen valor, though he claimed we have been able to prove that he was at the Air Force Academy through official DOD records, at the Air Force Academy, and was active duty Air Force for 4 years. He claims, as I'll show here, he claims he's got, he won medals in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Claiming that kind of shit's not good if you can't back it up. I'm not saying he can't back it up, but he never ever talks about it, but he puts it in his bio all the time and then lets people say it. He's a decorated combat vet. What's up, Cap? I don't think he's a stoner. I don't. I think he's a scammer. It would not surprise me if CIA thought of some kind of recruiting tool, right? But why would they do that? They don't really operate that way. Like, this guy's not a great recruiting tool. I'll show you something they do. This was his job. This is a video description that the CIA on their own Facebook page puts out. Now, a desk officer or a staff officer, staff operations officer, right, are not automatically work under a cover. In fact, most don't. Most desk officers don't. Not like some deep thing. Maybe if they're traveling or something. I don't, whatever. My experience, again, as I said numerous times, I was not in the CIA. So take whatever I say with a grain of salt. I worked in the IC for 8 years? I mean, I was doing tactical intel shit, and then 8 years. 8 years I worked in the intel community, national level, military intelligence. Gennari doesn't exist. Is Hippie in here? Oh, what's up? Oh, I didn't ask you. I figured Hippie was stacking wood. Not a euphemism. Was stacking wood. So I didn't. Plus, I got a lot of information I want to go over, which. Okay.
I'm using my networking, problem solving, and people skills.
Staff Operations Officer, Directorate of Operations. So, fucking Gayson Bourne has said, he said to Curacao, and he said on another thing, I forgot something else I saw, that he was a staff officer. So a staff officer is this. They are a DC. They're not traveling the world hunting moles. They sit in DC.
Every day to serve my country.
I plan and guide challenging foreign intelligence collection operations, counterintelligence activities, and covert action programs.
We are staff operations officers, or SOOs. The simplest description of a SOO's job is to be the connection between CIA headquarters in Washington, D.C. and officers working in a foreign location.
But the job...
You guys get that? Again, I am not taking anything at all away from the staff officer job. It's an important job. It's a needed job. And I don't have a ton of experience working with, like, if I knew somebody, like somebody's branch chief or whatever, I don't know. But it's a cool job. Which is why it's weird that he seems to definitely be lying.
Is much more than that description might suggest.
Oh, he also does this thing. So my feeling is this. I'm very sorry here. This is a terrible brief. My feeling is this, is that he the stuff I found, he mentions going to FTC, the Fieldcraft Training Course. They have since changed the name, but FTC and the farm, what everybody thinks of the farm. And the way he does it and the way he says it, and then his story about this, about freaking out under surveillance makes me think, oh, he got hired. They were going to see if he could be a case officer. He couldn't cut it as a case officer. Not even cut it as he couldn't even make it to get qualified to be a case officer. And then they put him in the staff officer position. And as we're going to go through here, you'll see his ego is pretty. It won't let him accept that he failed.
I'm the ultimate multitasker.
And when coordinating with other intelligence community agencies is required, I'm the one to make this happen.
When an unexpected turn of events provides a new operational opportunity or presents a new challenge, I'll be there on the team planning a course of action.
Sometimes I get the chance to travel overseas, but SOOs often thrive on the excitement of being based in the Washington, D.C. area.
What?
The center of our nation's intelligence and national security communities.
As a SOO, you are a critical part of the team.
Working to discover the truth for America.
They're basically like S3 people. If you're familiar with the military, which, by the way, I'm going to show you, this Bustamante fucknut thinks that military intelligence, that the intel shops are the threes. I'm going to show it. I got him on it's 3 years old. It's with a former action guy who is a Marine. He was I don't know his whole background exactly, but he was a Marine. He was a Anglico. He was called for fire guy, did fire missions. He's a trained dude. I didn't know him. It seemed like he went to Paris Island. He might have been more of an East Coast guy, but Ops is like intel. Ops is like intel. You have a few people forward and then a lot of people back. And I've been both. I've definitely been both. I prefer forward. Okay. So this is 3 years ago. I'm gonna let him go through some of this, and then I'm gonna use his own words to call into question some of the shit that he is saying. Also, him and his wife are jackasses. I changed my opinion on his wife when we watched the latest videos of his wife seems like she's fucking running shit, and he's a simp. I think he's watching her from an interview from 3 years ago. First of all, she talks her job the right way. Everybody's talking about hippies. What motherfuckers? She talks her job the right way, and she seems a lot happier. I think she knows she's caught in this dude's lies, because he is lying a lot. And I don't mean just like a cover story. Oh, here, let's look at this. So here's Andrew Bustamante. I don't know how old this is because it doesn't say. It's copyright 2025, but it's obviously old. Okay. Bustamante, notable figure recognized for a diverse career as a former CIA officer, which he can say that. He's a staff officer, entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. This is the whole big thing. His heritage, right? Okay. Now, full name, Andrew Bustamante. Birth date, that's not his real birth date. We were able to track it down. Birthplace, Miami. Now, all of what he always says, sorry, that's pretty small. I wasn't looking at it. What he always says is that he's from Pennsylvania. He grew up in Pennsylvania. And then I'm going to play you this thing where he said his dad died before he was born. He changes his story about his family a lot. Bustamante's cultural background is deeply rooted in Latin American heritage. He is of Cuban descent through his father, who he never knew, according to him. And I'll play that in his own words in an interview that he did. Whose family brings a legacy of resilience and rich traditions from Cuba. This aspect of Bustamante's heritage. Now, he does not talk about his dad this way at all. On his mother's side, Bustamante's heritage includes elements from various Latin American countries, blah, blah, blah. I will put this in the chat. Man, GMK, they are very creepy. So there you go. I put it in the chat there. You can go check all this stuff out. I guess should probably put it in. I can put it in the description too, whatever I reference here. Okay, so let's listen to this. This is from. What are you? Stella back there making all kinds of mouth noise. Okay, he was on some kind of Colorado dad thing. I'm trying to find out when this was. Okay, it doesn't say. But for this, he is in Colorado, and he is on some kind of podcast, some kind of thing about this is my job. This was my job. And also, I don't have a stake in it. It interests me because the dude is lying about shit I know about. And he falls in the potential. I mean, he's claiming he was in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'll pull that up. Not only there, but decorated from there, won medals. Oh yeah, here you go. Our guest this week is Andrew Bustamante of Colorado Springs, a former covert CIA intelligence officer. Also, he interchanges covert and clandestine a lot. That it's like Hippie put it back the other day. It's like cover and concealment. They're in the same realm, but they're two different things. Air Force combat veteran, a business consultant. Okay, he doesn't say decorated in this one. Okay. All right, so let's play this. Here's him talking about his dad.
I'm thrilled to be talking today with Andrew Bustamante of Colorado Springs, a former covert CIA intelligence officer, U.S. Air Force combat veteran, business consultant, host of the Everyday Espionage podcast, self-proclaimed improvement junkie, and father of 2 adolescent children. Andrew, thank you for taking the time to do a podcast.
Actually, thank you. What I will do is that, actually.
Guest interview for the Special Fathers Network.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Thanks so much for having me, David.
You and your wife, Jihi, who is also a former CIA intelligence officer, been married for 14 years, and the proud parents of 2 adolescent children. Let's start with some background. Where did you grow up? Tell me something about your family.
Yeah, I actually grew up in Pennsylvania. I think the most significant thing about my family is that I came from a strange family situation. My father was killed in a violent crime.
Okay. Really? Now, what if this is his cover? Why does he say CIA all over it? Do you know what I'm saying here? If he would say look, he's not gonna respond to me. There might be 200 people that eventually see this fucking thing. We got 16 people in here. 16 good motherfuckers, by the way. Spirit Hunter coming in muy caliente con 5 gratis. Shukran jazilan ya habibi. You're on the motherfucking bird. We haven't done it in a while. Whoops. Good luck, motherfucker.
Fuck you.
The wrong one. All right. We got a lot here. Thank you, Spirit Hunter. Most generous chat on goddamn YouTube. What's up, Jimbo? But if he would say like, oh, hey, look, I didn't put this out there because this was part of my cover. So you have CIA all the fuck over it. Funny he doesn't mention military in this. And then here he says he's from Miami with Cuban fucking parents and shit. And then he says he's in Pennsylvania. So, all right, let's get back to him and the father thing.
My pleasure, man. Thanks so much for having me, David.
You and your wife, Jihi, who is also a former CIA intelligence officer, been married for 14 years, and the proud parents of 2 adolescent children. Let's start with some background. Where did you grow up? Tell me something about your family.
Sorry, totally tracking, but I was just thinking, I was thinking it earlier and I forgot.
Yeah, I actually grew up in Pennsylvania. I think the most significant thing about my family is that I came from a strange family situation. My father was killed in a violent crime just before I was born. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother until my mom remarried. And when she remarried, in hindsight, as an adult now, I realize that my mom remarried into a household or with a husband that was the polar opposite of everything she came from. So Latino background for me and my mom, she married a Caucasian guy. As soon as she got married, she moved myself and her and my new stepdad all the way to Pennsylvania, the exact opposite side of the country from where my family came from, down in El Paso, Texas. And then from there, my stepdad and my mom very clear.
Down in El Paso, Texas? What happened in Miami? So what's true? And if you can't say, why are you saying different shit? It doesn't help your cover to just lie. That's not the point of it. This is Ernie kind of shit. This is Kaiser kind of shit. I'm not saying that's where this dude is. This dude definitely lies, seems to lie. Initial indicators that more in the Tim Kennedy realm than the Kaiser, just made it up whole cloth. No, I believe this guy was in the CIA. I believe he failed FTC, failed the farm, and then they made him a staff officer. And then his ego, he basically, we're going to play it here. He essentially failed as a fucking Air Force officer. Didn't quite fail, he'll tell you. But yeah, so now he's making this shit up. Yeah, it is. It's GS. In fact, it's a lot of GS because he does pull. I believe, based off of experience and training, meaning training in this shit a lot. It sounds like a fucking training exercise is what he was on. And he freaked out, which is and then he said, I'm coming home early. Remember? That's what he called. And he's probably meaning I'm coming home early from the farm, from FTC. All right. Where were we at? Sorry. I'm not upset. It's just, I know I'm like, it sounds like I'm getting myself worked up about it. No, but I am fascinated with these puzzles because this is the kind of guy. Now we would target. This guy's got some vulnerabilities, right? Human targeting. Now, what does he have placement and access to? Nothing. I mean, really nothing that's important. Like, and if somebody doesn't have placement and access to something, everything else could be in line, and who gives a fuck? But if you're going to work to target and come up with a plan to bump and target this dude and work this dude, you found some hooks. You found some hooks. He lies. I don't mean you wouldn't go up to him and be, haha, I caught you in a lie, but you know as a person that this dude's a liar, right? And so then you work your plan around that. Fucking liar.
Clearly went into a process of trying to become like your typical white picket fence Caucasian family. So it was very strange to me. I remember being a brown kid trying to grow up and pretend I was a white kid. Not that I think race is a big deal, but it certainly made for some difficulty, especially as my mother had half sisters with her new husband. And then I had to try to figure out how to be an independent young man in a family that was, predominantly not really who we tried to demonstrate ourselves to be in the community.
Yeah, well, thank you for that brief flyby. And my condolences, right, that your biological dad was killed in a violent crime and you never had a chance to know him. What do you know of him? What's your understanding of who he was?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to navigate because everything is rumor. He died in 1979, 1980, and I was born just a few months afterwards. So everything I have is hearsay. I have stories from my mom, who doesn't talk very often about him at all, stories from my grandmother, who has very strong negative opinions about him.
Oh.
But then I also get stories from his mom and his dad and his brothers and sisters and my mom's brothers and sisters. So it's really weird to spin a web of it. But what I know is that he was an athlete. And what I know is that he joined the military. And what I know is that he did not have a successful military career. He was a rebellious, disrespectful, insubordinate kind of guy, which fits my mom's type. My mom likes those kinds of bolsterous, verbal, independent kind of souls. And it also fits my own personality. So it makes sense to me there too. However, it was interesting to learn how unsuccessful he was. In fact, the night that he was killed, it was part of his attitude, his insolence, that contributed to the violence, because he essentially picked a fight with a criminal who was high on drugs. So it's just one of those things where, most people with good jobs.
I mean, how? Listen to this bullshit. Marine vet is goddamn self. What's going on, man? Okay, so that's that part, right? So now let's go when he's on 3 years ago with check it out. This Todd Opalski over here. FAG had him on. That's the dude that I knew. I was at they called it MESEP Prep. See, he's an officer there. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry, I'm not showing it. Sorry, where am I? Yeah, this is the Opalski's the dude I know. He's the only dude I knew from like way back. And again, I didn't know. The guy probably wouldn't remember my name. We were at like a 2-month school together to become officers.
Recruiting crisis right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's a sad state, and I think the lowest recruitment numbers since.
Go check out. Hey, if you like military shit, go check out Former Action Guys podcast. He's pretty good. I like him. The truth is though, as I just kind of started watching him. Hey John, what's going on, man? Well, that's the thing. This is not his real address. I mean, his real address. This is not his his date of birth. We got his real date of birth. I'll just say it's 1980. But he does this a lot, like a lot of liars do. If it's and it's not CIA Ernie fucking McHavoc. How about Ernie running down the street with just one shoe and no fucking clothes on? Oh my God. We're going to have to go over this. Police reports. Go check out Evil Ghost. I'm assuming if you're over here, you have probably checked out Evil Ghost. I'm sure Katie went over it. I didn't check, but the police report is fucking hilarious. Also, the cop that wrote it. Anyway, yeah. So you don't just lie like this. If you have a cover, then you lie about your cover. Anyway, okay, let's get back. Okay, so he asked him, hey, how did you join the military? Again, former action guy is Marine.
It's the 1970s with like an all-time low in terms of.
I'm one of those people that eats it up. You know, it's just something I find it's really intriguing. So hearing you talk about your experiences in the CIA was awesome. I didn't know until later in the interview how you mentioned that you were in the Air Force as well. So I'd like to start there before we get into the CIA part and talk about what drove you.
He also never answers anything directly when he's about to lie about it. That's his thing. He never answers it directly. He's got a setup that he wants to distract you with, and then he goes back in. I'm not saying this is a learned trait. Like a CIA learned trait. What he was a fucking staff officer that wore a tie and fucking worked in DC and was aware and helped create plans for people forward and people doing intelligence operations that he talks about. I'm not saying
to join the military and join the Air Force and go to the academy.
But so he joined the academy. Yeah, but he does. You can also remember he hasn't been in the CIA since 2014. 2014, almost a decade. Right? No, a decade, 11 years. What am I talking about? I'm a fucking Marine at heart. God damn it. Hey, what's going on? It's 11 years. You are so out of the loop. I don't care what this guy talks about anything and everything. And he was a POGAS staff officer who failed FTC, who we'll go over it here in a minute, who failed flight fucking school, flight training. This fucking guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I don't know if you know this, Justin, but right now the U.S. military is actually in a recruiting crisis right now.
Oh yeah.
It's a sad state, and I think the lowest recruitment numbers since the 1970s, with like an all-time low in terms of survey results for young people, young adults interested in military service. So it's such an interesting time. Now, I joined the military. I'm from a military family. My dad was a tunnel rat in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
My mom.
Oh, your dad was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. Now, I couldn't find it in time. I got to dig for it. But I just watched him and his wife interview each other, which is nauseating. God, this guy's a pussy. They're so annoying. They are so Northern Virginia. It's bonker. I'm like, they were definitely CIA. CIA people are a lot of CIA people. The younger crew are like this crew. It's not hardened DOD sort of dudes. They don't want DOD dudes. For a bunch of reasons. One of which is you already have a history that people can look up. Look what happens on here. Look what happens on here. You have a history that can look up. Now it just takes cover. It takes stuff, right? Again. But anyway, all right.
Was a communicator, old school Morse code communicator back in the late 70s. And she was with the Air Force. All of my aunts and uncles are former Army, former Marine Corps. Like, we come from a long lineage of military. And it was never a question.
This is the dude who called them Army Delta Rangers. You're about to see this guy was in the Air Force, bubble wrapped in the Air Force, and then bubble wrapped at the academy, and then as a missile guy.
In my mind that I would have military service of some kind. What was different is that everybody in my family was enlisted. So when the time came for me to answer the call, I had to ask myself, do I want to enlist or do I want to find a different opportunity? Do I want to go ROTC, ROTC, and go to college? Do I want to explore some other opportunity? And then that's where I discovered the existence of these military academies, which I know it's silly in hindsight, but there's a lot of people out there who don't know that the military academy system even exists at West Point or at Annapolis or in Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
So answering the call was easy for me. I wanted to do it. It was something that my family had done before me. I recognized intrinsically the
shit. I'm sorry. I lost my last point like I often do. Watching the interview with him and his wife, they were specifically talking about his dad. And then he goes, no, not my dad. My stepdad was the Vietnam vet. His stepdad. Again, is that a gotcha? Is any of this a gotcha? I mean, it kind of is. It's like, this dude is lying his ass off about a bunch of different shit. Does it matter really in the scheme of things? Because he's selling himself as a CIA officer, does it really matter in the scheme of things that he lies about his birth date, that he lies about his parents, his family upbringing? Does it matter that his voter registration goes to some weird marine business? If this is a CIA fucking operation, this is terrible. This is terrible. Because it took 3 dudes 48 hours to track down a bunch of shit about you. It's a terrible fucking cover if it's a cover.
The benefits of becoming a military member, the travel, the training, the fitness, the community, the camaraderie, even to this day, we're having this conversation, Justin, because we're vets. Like, this is not a conversation.
By this point, by the way, he claimed that he's an Iraq and Afghanistan decorated combat vet.
Other people get to have.
For sure.
That's what drove me in that direction. But it was me asking myself personal, what do I want to make of my life? That's what drove me to choose the Air Force.
I don't know how, Misty, I don't know how long it's been since you've been there. It feels this way. These, I don't know if you remember it the same way, but God, these guys are so Nova, him and his wife.
Academy and commission as an officer through that commissioning source.
How difficult did you find it to be to like apply and hearing it?
Not necessarily. It's difficult from my experience.
Sorry, hold on. I got a bunch to go over, so we're gonna skip ahead. I got timestamps, motherfucker.
Was less the hoops that you have to jump through. Yes, you have to meet certain physical standards. Yes, you have to meet community service standards, academic standards. You have all these standards you have to meet, but there's so.
Oh, okay. I'm going to fast forward. This is, here is the link. Again, I'll put it in the description. Here's the link to Fags podcast. Former action guys. Fags. There you go. Obviously, it doesn't help for me to put it up on the screen, but there you go. It's in the chat. Boom. Boom shakalaka. Boom, as we in the industry like to say. All right, but I'm going to get ahead here. 1604. Okay, this is where he talks about he wanted to be a foreign area officer. There's a program. It's the Army does it. I think all branches do it. They call them FAOs, foreign area officer. You go. We had a bunch going through language school through Monterey with us, and they're captains, Air Force captains, whatever. They're military captains. We had one lieutenant, SF lieutenant colonel. I think he was doing something different, but
about really not making it into an.
But it's funny because his whole my point was this. It starts building data points on this guy, and again, what you would really want to look for is vulnerabilities, right? You want to look for needs, wants, and desires that these guys are looking to fulfill. This guy has a craving to be, he wants to be seen as a James Bond guy. He wants to be the guy with the hair. He wants to be this all over podcast. He's a tiny dude. He's a little tiny dude. But his whole story is filled with, I wanted to be this, but I couldn't be.
Aircraft. Or if you choose to not put aircraft in your top 3.
What was in your top 3?
That's interesting. I don't know. Was there mob presence in DC? I didn't even know there was such a thing as the mafia. Wink.
So I had Intel as my number one. I actually had personnel management as my second one, and I wanted to be a military police officer as my third. I did not require.
Always they want to be MPs. Always with the fucking MPs. I heard this morning. Always with the MPs. By the way, Woodrow is one of the people who helped a lot. Woodrow A-logged the shit out of this dude.
West, anything with an aircraft at all. And then because of my physical stature and because of my GPA, which was passing, not great, but passing, and then because of my eyesight, when my time came to get selected, I actually still got a pilot slot. Still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had to go to, and then I just ended up going to pilot training in the least desirable pilot training base, Moody Air Force Base, in the Air Force repertoire.
That's funny. Yeah. I'm not, if for anyone that may be judging you for your GPA, let's remember you were studying, foreign area studies with China as a focus. That's a pretty heavy, that's probably.
Again, it's a graduate program. I'm not going to get into, I don't care if he is fudging on this a little bit, but again, it's not really clear. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that the academies have. Okay. So he didn't go flight school, but he was in flight school. Okay. So that's it. They put him in flight school. Oh, where am I at here? Sorry, guys. All right, 18. Oh, okay.
Probably
I wanted to live in foreign.
Okay. So this is, he's about to tell a story that we're about to find out is Mexico, and that he did it in high school. Hey, kiddo, Marine veteran, goddamn self, swinging with the wing. Oh, does he really? That's funny. Hey, SV, I don't know if you know the comedian Kurt Metzger. I do. I think he's hilarious. He does a bit where he wears this wig and pretends to be him. Oh, I didn't know that though. This guy's all over the fucking place. Yeah. This isn't like I discovered somebody. This dude has been making the rounds for a fucking long time. Oh, but when he tells this story, I think it's on Sean Ryan. I got it other places. When he tells this story in other podcasts, it's to Argentina. It's to somewhere else, and he did it. And it's not in high school. He doesn't say Mexico. I went to Mexico for a couple of days in high school.
Foreign countries.
Also, supposedly he grew up, he was born in El Paso, according to this podcast. This will change on a different platform who he's talking to. So far, I have not found consistency in this. He has said 3 different places. And so he was in El Paso. If you guys have been to El Paso, you can see Juarez. It's right there. I agree with you. Top is literally the only MP that it's so funny because I hate cops and then I hang around the ex-cops. Like a lot of my friends are cops or were cops.
And I knew I wanted to have multiple languages. That was all interesting to me.
Oh,
I love.
He wears his shirt, Everyday Spy. He wears a t-shirt, just a different color that says Everyday Spy on it, to every single podcast he's on. Ugh, God, everything about this dude is a shill. He could be telling the truth and it doesn't matter. He could be telling the truth on this shit. His SDR story is terrible.
Love the United States. I love America for sure. But what I discovered very early on in like high school, when on a trip to Mexico, was that my appreciation for what we have in the United States was so much richer after I lived in another country. Oh my gosh, man, you know what I'm talking about. You go.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you should. I'm a former federal intelligence officer who hangs around cops. Yeah.
Someplace and they don't have drinkable water that comes out of the sink. They have dead bodies on the street. They have, violent crime, that uncontrollable, corrupt police officers. When you have to live in that environment, even just for a weekend or for a holiday, you come back to the United
So you never lived there. You went and visited there. It sounds like one time in high school. One time in high school. Holy, again, it's fine. It's all fine. He just says different shit in different places. And if you're of the belief or feeling like, well, yeah, he's a CIA officer, covert agent, that he said. Actually, I think he does get the officer agent thing right, but covert intel officer, then you don't lie. Why? Because now it draws questions. Lying draws questions. No, your consistency doesn't fucking set shit off. Consistency in your lie. Get better, liars.
United States, and you're like, oh, thank God I'm back in God's land, right? Like back where things are lawful and just and free. And I found that was my experience as a high schooler, and I was like, I want to always.
God damn. From one greasy vet to another. Stone vet. The angry vet. You may know him by his street name, the Angry Vag. Coming in muy caliente. Con 50 miembros gratis. Shukran jazilan, motherfucker.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target. What are you gonna do?
I love the fuck out of cookies.
I'm opposed to dildos. Well, no, it's not, you fucking retard.
Take advice from fucking losers? Fuck that!
Fuck that. We got Stream Doofus in place. Roger that. Take that motherfucking shot. God damn right. And the talk erupted in applause. Thank you very much, Tav. Generous motherfucker. I said it only costs $50, dude, but thanks for the
always value my American citizenship and my American heritage. And the best way for me to do that is to travel the world and help me stay sharp on how important that is and how valuable the American experience is, but also show people that Americans are like, we're awesome. We're helpful.
We are pretty goddamn awesome. All right. Okay. This is where he fails flight school.
Freedom of choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember going to Malaysia and having like, we had to have like
Malaysia
guards basically with us because we were in like a pretty crappy area of Malaysia, and it was just like, this is a weird environment. This is kind of a interesting place to be right now. So when you actually got out of the academy and went on to, the rest of your Air Force career, you didn't get any of your top three, right?
Tell him Derek Savage say you're a
Correct,
liar.
yeah, I didn't get any of my top 5 choices. I had somebody who tapped me on the shoulder and said, you really should have picked something in the aviation community because then you would have gotten what you picked. Instead, you just get what's left over. So I go on to Moody Air Force Base, and I'm like the worst. I am the most disgruntled pilot training student you've ever met. I'm
just another excuse for why he failed flight school. Listen, I'm not saying I would have passed flight school. I failed schools. It's embarrassing. It sucks. It's not easy to fucking, but I've done it. But it's never him failing, right? When even taking his SDR, his fucking horseshit SDR story at face value, right? It still isn't his fault that he got caught. It isn't his fault that he got that he freaked the fuck out. It isn't his fault. He had to burn the whole fucking op. None of it's his fault.
I'm too afraid to do a trash. Like I'm too afraid to be a bad pilot because you don't.
He didn't quit the CIA. He didn't quit the CIA. He said he was so good that him and his wife created a whole new paradigm and reorg at the agency because of their shadow cell. Holy fuck. No. And then he said, hey, just why don't you give both of us cush he said it. We listened to it. Cush assignments. And they said no. CIA said no. Oh, geez, can't imagine. In 2014, still a lot of shit going on. No, but he didn't fail.
You don't want it. What people don't realize is that when you go into pilot training, you don't get kicked out.
Yeah.
You get recycled. So you're like permanently in this recycling of like going back and doing it again, going back and doing it again, going back and doing it again. Unless you self-select out, which is like ruining your career, you can't just flunk out.
So again, this is him. I don't know if this is true or not. I have been to plenty of schools where they do roll you back. It's more cost effective to try and roll you back. Language school happened for me. My unit would pay for it. I was getting a C. I was like a C plus. Technically, that was passing. They're like, we can have you go to the next semester, the third phase, or we can just have you roll back. And I was like, fuck, roll back. Let me get better. Yeah, I've been to schools like that. But guess what? You can also do flunk out
of pilot training. You just keep getting washed back again. So I was too afraid to be washed back.
He was too afraid to be washed back. So again, also it's so funny. He just barely graduated the Air Force Academy too. We heard him. He said, but did I play it on this one? In this video, he talks about he had a 2.4 GPA. He was like, I was barely above 2.0. Oh, that's hilarious. You just gifted out all those. You don't have one. Yeah, thanks to Tav, who doesn't have one. Don't want to have one himself.
What are you gonna do?
The fuck are you gonna do, man?
It's going to get hotter. Cracker.
But basically what he's setting up is, oh, I didn't fail because you can't fail. I didn't wash out. No. They didn't push me out. My grades in flying didn't suck. No. I chose to go do this other thing, which he's about to talk about. But the second thing he's about to talk about, and he talks about it again with the nuclear shit, is he freaks the fuck out. He is afraid to make any motherfucking mistake ever. I don't know what is going on in his psyche, if he was an abused kid or something. Like seems to be deathly afraid of making a mistake. And so he talks about it here. I was afraid to wash out. So instead of washing out, I'm just going to quit. And then I'm going to go to this other thing.
So I kept doing a good enough job to keep progressing forward. And by the time I hit phase 2 of my pilot training, there's 3 phases. By the time I hit phase 2, we were at a position where force shaping was taking off because of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. And they were starting to say that they wanted more people.
2 places that you claim that you got decorated from.
People in high needs career fields. So I threw my name in a hat. I was like, you have a high need career field, I'll take it. Because the last thing I want to do is end up flying a C-130 for the next 10 years because I didn't even sign up to be a pilot. And there are lots of pilots out there who love being pilots.
You put me in something I didn't even want to do. It's your fault I failed. All you have to do is just Google fucking Andrew Bustamante military, and you're going to see all over the place. U.S. Air Force combat veteran. After winning decorations in both Afghanistan and Iraq, he was recruited to the CIA's NCS. Oh, shit, is Coke Dog in here? Oh, yeah, what's up, brother? What's going on? Yeah. So 2 places that Andrew claims he's gotten awards for combat.
They should be the ones flying.
For sure.
I'm a seat. I am a lost opportunity to some good pilot out there. So I wanted out of that position. And that's how I ended up getting cross-trained into space and missiles, which is a 13 Sierra. And I got my top secret SCI Cat 6 and Cat 12 clearance. I learned about nuclear weapons. I went out to California for training. And that was really how I rounded out and finished my military career, was as a nuclear missile officer.
Now, as a nuclear
missile officer, as a nuclear missile officer, you went to Iraq and Afghanistan and got decorations from combat there. This is just one phrasing. This is, if you just literally just type in Bustamante military, it's this, but phrased different and slightly different way. But both are very, no matter which way he says it, are very clear. He went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and that he's a combat veteran.
Missile officer, my first thoughts are the dude sitting in a bunker, insert the key, turn on 3, you know. Is that you?
By the way, I fully believe, well, by the way, it's been verified in the DoD database. He was in the Air Force. He's got 4 years active duty. He was at the academy. And I do believe he got hired by the CIA. My feeling, I don't know for sure, but based on knowledge of that field and the way he's talking, and he himself has said he was a staff officer, which is a desk officer, which is a DC-based operations guy, not doing operations, but helping plan operate. You're a fucking, I mean, it's a fine job. I don't know why you would join an agency like the CIA if you didn't want to fucking go do daring do shit, but whatever, man. But I feel like he failed FTC and then got made a staff officer, and then he didn't like it.
That was me, dude. 100%. That was me.
How tough of a job is that, man? That's got to be tough.
It's hard in different ways. Like, the hardest part about the job is not necessarily sitting underground. Sitting underground sucks. It's miserable.
To be clear, I didn't make it in. I've 28 people, so we probably don't have a ton of new people, but I've talked about it. I've gone through this process. I've gone through their process. I got pretty deep into it, up to the polygraph. And then I got a letter that just said, thanks, but no thanks. They didn't tell me why. It said you can reapply in a year or something like that. It was devastating. I ended up going into military intelligence. But at the time, CIA, and it's a long process, it was a pretty long process. And then I had I was Afghanistan, had a deployment to Afghanistan in there. So that kind of helped kill the time a bit, but the process takes a while.
The hardest.
Oh, so my point is this. Do I know every detail about being in there? No. Have I been in Langley? Yes. Have I fucking interacted with CIA a lot? Yes. But no, I was never a CIA officer or a case officer. I was a military source handler and a human targeting. I certified. So the intel community decided to DCS, the Defense Clandestine Service, was set up to mirror CIA exactly, which is another reason why I understand this. What he's taught, which is why I understand, because DIA DCS, who I worked with a bunch, Wally was involved with them. It was set up the exact same way. It's just your DOD, not CIA, right? And then what else was I gonna say? Fuck, I forget. Anyway, let's listen. Ask Todd.
This part of the job is all of the education and all of the maintenance that you have to do.
Oh, so yeah. So you could say, sure, well, you weren't CIA. Yeah, you're right. I also wasn't a Green Beret, but you doesn't mean you can't be like bullshit.
To maintain current to control a nuclear weapon. That's every month you're taking 2 tests. Every month you're going through 2 simulators. Every month you've got at least 3 alerts, and each alert is between 48 and 72 hours underground.
Oh, the horror. The horror. Motherfucker. This dude also talks about he's worked with MARSOC and a bunch of these other. Where did you work with these people, dude? Where did you work with fucking shooters? Where? In Afghanistan? Because that's the only place you would have worked with MARSOC. There's some other places. Maybe. 2007 was the motherfucking surge. And this pussy fucking war dodger goes to, like, I don't want to be a pilot. A pilot making fucking, yeah. So he goes be a nuke. Oh my God. 3 times a month? Maybe you had drills. How about getting fucking mortared every other fucking day? Fuck you. Where? I had to live in a fucking barren town, and 3 times a month we got drills. Go suck a dick. Fucking Gayson Bourne, you lying fuck.
So your time becomes this constant grind of life without the sun, or life in a simulator where you have sun, but you have to pretend like you're underground, or you're cramming for the next big test. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes it bearable is that you're on a nuclear missile base where everybody else is in the exact same situation as you. So everybody's social calendar, everybody's vacation calendar, everybody's life revolves around this grind. So it's very easy to have that community, but it is most definitely a difficult grind.
It seems like every few years there's news that comes out of that area that there's a bunch of like issues, like guys are on drugs, this is happening. And I'm like, man, you have these people.
All right. So he talks about everybody's partying. Where are we at here? 27. Okay, 30, 25. This is his theory on what makes a professional soldier. By the way, let's change this up just real quick. This is him on Sean Ryan. I believe it was 2003. Let's take a look. 2003. This is an Air Force officer talking about his beginning time here. And go.
Anything you can give us. Like I said, I don't want to get too into the weeds because I know most of it's still classified. So
yeah, absolutely. So I was recruited into CIA as I was leaving the Air Force. Now,
this story changes. This story also changes how he was recruited in. I don't care. I mean, again, it's like one of these deals where it's like, is it a 50 hand grenade story that you can't fucking get consistent? Or is it just a minor thing?
I was a horrible soldier. And anybody who knows, anybody who knew me at the Air Force Academy, anybody who knew me in uniform, any friend or enemy or foe that I had ever had would agree that Andy, back then I had a different name, was not a good soldier.
No, you didn't have a different name. No, you didn't. We got your voter registration. We looked you up in DOD. You were not again. At what point do you just not accept the lies? This isn't a CIA plant. This is a former CIA desk officer going full doofus, loving the smell of his own farts. And because he was able to fool Sean Ryan, Joe Rogan's vetting didn't let him through, and he fools a lot of people. He gets onto podcasts with millions of views, which is, again, they're weird podcasts because they seem all staged and everything. It doesn't seem real. But but this is bullshit. You don't just lie about all of this stuff. And he calls himself a soldier. Also, he just didn't have the different name. He had the name, Andrew Bustamante. I'm not looking to dox the motherfucker, but you can find his middle name.
I didn't like to knew me in uniform, I was a horrible soldier. And
the dude went through the Air Force Academy, which is true, by the way. And he spent 4 years active duty in the Air Force with nukes, which is true, by the way, and then calls himself a soldier.
Anybody who knew me at the Air Force Academy, anybody who knew me in uniform, any friend or enemy or foe that I had ever had would agree that Andy, back then I had a different name, was not a good soldier. I didn't like to shave. I didn't like to polish my shoes. I didn't like to wear a.
If this is a CIA op, I mean, apparently Kirikow hasn't been with the fucking agency since what, 2011, but he's obviously fucking stays connected because it's lucrative for him. Does this feel like it's a fucking, if this is his cover story, if this is an actual CIA op, which how hilarious would it be if we uncovered a CIA op? Sucks for you. Get better. Get better. This is horse shit. This is fucking JV.
Nice uniform. I didn't like the military. So it was really natural for me to want to leave when my service obligation was up. I was trying to go into the Peace Corps because I'm a very simple creature. And all I really wanted at the age of 27 was tent sex with a hippie chick somewhere in Africa. That's all I wanted. There's a lot of 27-year-old guys out there that would give me a high five because they kind of want this.
We were in the middle of the fucking surge. Like,
same thing, right? Yeah. That's what I was aiming for. Tent sex with a hippie chick in Africa saving.
Where is even talk, just even mention? I mean, he mentions here earlier. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit here because it's interesting to hear the different stories. And actually, truthfully, they're not that far apart. They're about a year apart. One was 3 years ago. This is about 2 years ago.
Children. I'd still I'm 42 years old. I would still say that sounds like a pretty awesome ambition. So I'm applying to the Peace Corps
but no mention of any of it. But then he mentions in this later on, or at some point, I'll find it, that he operated in, he will tell you anything about any place he's deployed to with the CIA, supposedly. Any place at all, he will fucking tell you. But the 2 combat tours that he had, that he claims, not once, all over the place, just type in Bustamante military, and it'll show you Iraq, Afghanistan, combat veteran, decorated. He won medals in both theaters. If this is a fucking plant, this is JV as fuck.
In that application process, I get a tap on the shoulder from CIA.
But no mention at all of Iraq or Afghanistan. To Sean Ryan. Military vet bro. I know he was GRS too. He was with the agency, right? This is the exact guy that he would be like, hey, I can relate to you. I did Iraq, Afghanistan. I wanted out of the military, even if you just gloss over it. But you put it in your bio, so it means something.
And CIA basically says if you finish this application with the Peace Corps, you'll be disqualified forever from working in intelligence.
Holy shit! How are you doing? I was actually literally just thinking about you. I was like, be easy, baby. I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen you for a bit. I was thinking about emailing you, actually. And then I realized that I don't know what the fuck email is. So, well, that's good. I mean, not that it's hell, but I always figure when I don't see people for a while that, well, I hope they're having a good, not that I didn't think you like laughed or whatever. I just figured,
intelligence, because those are 2 non-starters. Once you work at CIA, you can never do humanitarian work with the Peace Corps.
Yeah, there is that, but that's all about something else. It doesn't, he tries to frame it as humanitarian. he tries to frame it for a different reason. It's so you don't compromise those people and don't compromise that program. All right. No. Okay, professional soldier theory. Okay, sorry. So we'll go back to this. So now this is him giving his advice, his theory. Now, mind you, this is a dude. I know I keep saying it, but as a reminder, this dude purposely and often touts that he is an Iraq and Afghanistan combat vet. Highly decorated, no doubt.
It takes extreme structure and order and consistency and performance to get qualified to handle a nuclear weapon. There's it's a huge book of requirements that you have to demonstrate consistently to maintain the.
Oh, dude, I got notes, tabs open. Something triggered me with this. Not in an angry way at all, but something with this. I was like, oh, I gotta dig a little bit. And then Woodrow, codename Woodrow. Some interesting shit fucking popped up, and it started. And then I was like, oh, and I was mainlining because look, there's a reason. Ernie is a low-level scammer, right? Ernie, you watch Ernie, and you're like, that dude's not even JV. He's not even playing high school. He's in a different sport. Low-level scamming. What this dude is doing, what Tim Kennedy is doing, what those guys are doing is higher-level scamming. You still break them down, and they still kind of have the same kind of traits, and it's not more complicated. They just do it at a higher level. The tightrope act is a little bit higher. And this dude, and you got to be charismatic. You got to be charismatic. You got to have something that people get drawn to you about, and say whatever you. I was never into Tim Kennedy's shtick at all, but you know, he came around at a time where the vet bro thing, and then this dude is doing it all too.
Ability to wear a key if you have to wear a key. There's that element, but then there's also the psychological element where they're always checking in to say, you know, can you handle this? Are you a conscientious objector? Do you have a problem if you're called upon to launch? You know, how would you feel if you nuked Syria? Would you be remorseful or whatever else, right? So you go through all these questions, and there's the military.
I never went to Syria. I did go to Jordan for a totally different thing. Like way apart. But I worked the early stages of the Syria issue. But I did it from Virginia.
Military is always really good at finding a way to desensitize you just enough by turning you into a professional soldier, because that's what a professional soldier is. Mm-hmm. Professional soldiers are soldiers.
I got one aspect I can't talk about, but one other aspect that I can. We were helping State Department vet. There was other things, right? But vet guys to give phones and governance thing, basically to see if state, because you got to go through stages of who meets people, who meets people when, all of this shit. It's all a little game. And state was, we don't want to hand phones to terrorists. Like, well, good luck, because you already did. And then the Obama administration said we could give people guns, and then they said we couldn't.
Who are desensitized to the act of violence they have to commit in the best interest of protecting the American people. That's the difference between a militia person and a professional soldier. Militias don't go through that systematic training. So if they ever actually have to shoot somebody, they're like traumatized by the act of shooting someone. Mm-hmm. Military soldiers, they have to go through quite a bit of active conflict before they really have to worry about significant trauma because of the way they're sensitized. So they sensitize us to a lot of that. So by the time we get underground, I mean, we've been in simulators for 6 or 12 hours at a time. So by the time we get underground, it's almost more.
Okay, hold on. I want to. Okay. This changes. I'm first generation American, so there was a lot of pride in the 80s and 90s growing up. Okay. Why doesn't he mention the fucking There was this show that he said he was a decorated spy. Or a decorated vet.
Of a reward. We've achieved the thing that we've been training for so long. you're one of America's trusted silent sentinels, and we can be very proud of our service in that position. But that's more of how it's kind of framed up for us. And then if you start to crack, if a year or 2 years.
Okay. He's making money off of it. Now, this is he did Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. This is History Channel. He was part of their thing, right? Where did it say Andrew has become highly demand? Wait, 15. Oh, very top. Decorated wartime military veteran. See how he says that there, though? See how he says that a little bit differently? Now it's like, well, I was decorated and it was wartime.
Years of this grind starts to get to you, you can of course go through different types of convalescent leave and psychiatric leave and everything else. But if you raise your hand and you quit, you're tanking your career, you're incurring debt with the U.S. military. You're taking a big risk, like you would if you quit the SEALs or if you quit, as an Air Force personnel officer. When you quit, you take on significant risk.
Yeah, that's man, it's a serious responsibility, because if that ever call came and it was for real, like, I don't know, man, it's hard to even, like, you could talk about launching a nuke at a country, but to actually really understand what that means.
Yeah, well, when they run around claiming they're Iraq and Afghanistan vets and lying about a bunch of shit. Also, I know you're kidding. Hey, go check out Freeman Press, by the way. He's got some good stuff. JJ's campaign is hilarious. Okay, let me skip ahead to here. Oh, no. Okay, 3708. Yes, I have copious notes, motherfuckers.
Says, like, if you are applying, don't tell your friends and family about, obviously don't go announce it to the world if that's something you're wanting to do, because that defeats the purpose of it. But wow, man, would you say your recruitment is that like an average way people?
I have to find it, but I have him on video saying that he had to cut off when he applied to the CIA. He had to cut off. Plus, I like the way he likes to talk about like he's recruited. You put in a fucking application, dipshit, just like I did. And by the way, I was military. And he's like, they don't, clandestine service doesn't hire people from the website. Yeah, they do. Hate to break your bubble, dipshit.
People get recruited, or do more people apply?
Oh, but he said that he had to cut ties with everybody in his whole life before. Everybody, to include his family. I have to find it. It is amazing. Basically what you're hearing is him talking about his con. Now, he was in the CIA. I believe he was in the CIA as a staff officer. It's a weird one to pick if you're not, he tries to really wants you to believe he was a case officer, an operations officer, but he was a staff officer. They call him staff operations officer, right? He dealt with plans for sure, but he was DC desk job, not under any kind of cover.
And then get vetted that way.
Yeah, so when you look at the makeup of the CIA, and CIA is very cagey about its total number of employees, right? Mm-hmm. But essentially, it's in the range of 10,000 employees at CIA.
I didn't. It bothered me. I'm not gonna lie. It bothered me for a bit. I mean, you gotta fucking you regroup, but it had been a goal. And then you take something like that out of your mind. And then I put in to be like operations officer, case officer, right? An OO and a paramilitary officer. And they were looking at me for the paramilitary thing. Now, paramilitary is not like shooter shit. There's a lot that goes into it's the everything from it's a covert action, baby, basically. So there's influence operation shit. They weren't looking at me to be some kind of shooter. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought, this is it. I've made it to the majors. And then I didn't get the job. And I was like, but you got to pick yourself up and fucking move the fuck on. It sucked, though. It did suck for a couple of months.
10,000 employees in the range. 2,000 of those employees are undercover. The other 8,000 employees are overt, not undercover. Their tax history says CIA.
I hate how he uses overt, covert, and clandestine in the way that, because he uses them all wrong. Nobody there is overt. It's not over. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, but you're not overt. You're still laying low, but you're not under an official cover. You didn't go to by official cover. They mean like you went to the cover office, you got a cover. He was not one of those jobs, by the way. Now, if he would have passed FTC, like it really does seem like that's what he failed. If he would have passed FTC, he would have been an operations officer.
They are able to tell their friends and family they work at CIA. If they want to try and be
interchangeable,
like cloak and dagger about it, they can, but there is no cover for them to fall back on. They can't.
He's talking about himself right now. He's talking about himself. We just heard him on Sean Ryan say that he went by a different name back in the day. No, he didn't. You have no cover. The shit that you're doing is not cover.
They can't say they work for the military. They can't say they work for some business. They can't say they work for somebody else. They only work for CIA. Their mail, their paycheck comes in the mail from CIA. Out of here. But those 2,000 people that are undercover, that's a different breed. They do not, on any official documentation, work for CIA. IRS doesn't know who they work for. Their bank doesn't know who they work for. CIA provides all the collateral documentation so that you can live your cover. So when you talk about CIA.gov, the 8,000 people that CIA hires for overt positions, absolutely they come from or from CIA.gov. Your analysts, your tech types, your disguise people,
your staff officers,
your logisticians, your IT folks, your programmers, right? They don't live and work undercover. Those two
fucking codename Woodrow went fucking ham on this dude. Like I'm saying, if this somehow uncovered a CIA operation, hint, it's not. But if this somehow uncovered one, that would be hilarious. And I wouldn't feel the least bit upset about it. This is bullshit. If this is legitimately some sort of op, it is not. But if it was, this is JV. And we're in trouble because if this is what our intelligence agencies are doing right now, this is fucked.
2,000 that do live and work undercover, they come in a variety of different ways. There are groups of them that can come through CIA.gov, but they have to have their background interactions with the website expunged, so it's not available for cyber tracking. The majority of them actually come from college recruiters who meet people at a college or get recommended by some CIA recruiter who's planted in the staff at a college.
This isn't classified, but yeah, I guess I can say once you begin the process, you do get told don't go to the website. You do get told that. Like stay away from any of our shit, basically.
Texas A&M is a big recruiting college. William and Mary is a big recruiting college. UCLA is a big recruiting college. So there's various recruiters that live in colleges. There's also recruiters that are regional that will work directly with referral points in intelligence programs and in national security programs at places like George Washington or Penn State or Ohio State, University of Florida.
Where is it? Sorry. Wyatt. Yeah, this is the whole thing with him, right? Is that he does this thing. He gets asked a question. He doesn't like the question. he's unsure of his experience with it or something, or he knows it's a lie because he pulls it in. He's like, okay, good. And then immediately deflects, still talking about, he's like, what was your process? Well, they're not talking about his process at all. They're talking about just general recruitment. And I can understand how some people would see this maybe and be like, well, this is just a CIA recruitment video. They don't need to do this. They don't need to do that. Not that intel agencies shouldn't be cut in half. But like, hey, Heidi Delamonte. But this would be wasteful money. I just don't know what the benefit, what would be the end state of this? Who is he influencing? Everybody sees this dude as suspect in some kind of way. They see him either they completely believe him and they view him as suspect because he's a CIA guy and he's very, very open about. In fact, that's all he talks about is CIA, being CIA. So he makes people distrust him for that shit. Or he's an actual fucking. This is just terrible. People don't like him, or people who've been around make fun of him and laugh at his lies.
So there's like a whole network there that's looking for young people out of college. And then there's
look, not everything's a human fucking intel source collection. You recruit people to do a lot of different kinds of shit. There are a lot of different things people can do other than just bring you potential intelligence, bring you information. You have people do shit. Influence operations, yes, could work somewhere like this. I just don't know what the fuck. It is weird. I gotta say, though, I'm not gonna lie. It's weird to see how quickly and easily this dude got onto very big podcasts. Very big podcasts. So, CIA, if this is for real, you got to tighten your shit up. It's weird that he got on. I mean, it feels like it's, what do they call that? AstroTurfed. It feels right. Is that the right? Am I thinking of the right term when they do that? But it feels weird that he immediately got on to pretty goddamn. He got on a really big podcast. Which, no, I agree.
There's a similar network that's looking for veterans, and then there's the folks like me who get picked up because we're trying to apply to some other government program.
My experience is not that same. Like the CIA is, they're not really out looking for people. There's enough people that go to them. And if you aren't motivated to go to them, why would they go to seek you out? If you're not motivated to be there, what the fuck is the point of trying to? They're not trying to recruit you like a source, which would be a different thing. It's just really Mears coming in for Mears 420. I'm very 420 right now, apparently. Coming in, muy caliente, I've been a member for 22 meses. American, Australian. What is going on, Mears? Feel like I haven't seen you alive in a bit, man. Feel like I haven't seen you alive.
Oi, look at me. Look at me. You know what this is? Two bloody legends staring at each other. Fucking oath, mate.
Fucking oath, mate. All right, let's spark it up.
Maybe it's Department of State. Maybe it's Homeland Security. Maybe it's FBI. But we trigger something in some back-end algorithm that fits this particular opportunity. So then they reach out to us because, I mean, I've been with the Air Force since I was 17 years old. My entire life history is known to the U.S. government. So they knew exactly.
I mean, I get it. He's talking about the clearance thing, but I mean, I love how all these guys, remember how Blue Bacon was like, they saw my value at the airport and made me undercover drug suppression unit. All these guys are like, they get discovered. All their stories are about them getting discovered. Not that they put in the hard work and went to a screening and passed or some shit like that. No, they got their talents got discovered.
Exactly who they were talking to when they called me.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it easier for, I mean, I imagine it's easier for veterans to get into it, right? As long as they didn't have a bad history in the military.
Again, other people's experiences may vary. my experience, which is firsthand, but I was not in CIA, but my experience and around that is they don't want DOD dudes. They don't want they want younger, fresh from college, fresh from a year abroad kind of folks with no DOD history for more than a couple of reasons. But they don't want to be the DOD. They don't want to be the intel arm of the DOD. There already is that. It's called the Defense Intelligence Agency. And that's where your fucking military guys are. That's where all that shit is for us. No, CIA, they like dudes like him. Obviously he couldn't cut it, but that initial kind of energy that this dude gives off is the energy that I have found that they hire for.
Yeah, correct. So,
or at least attracts them.
The normal,
and you do a lot of face-to-face. You do phone. Let's see. I probably had 2 to 3 phone calls and I had to mail something to them, like they mailed a test. So I would say I probably had 3 phone calls, 2 phone calls maybe, and a test. And then they gave me an address to this hotel that they were doing that they had rented. And you're with a whole bunch of people. That was my first direct interaction with them. And then face to face, and then 3 or 4 more face to face. You are getting your personality, who you are, your psych test. They get a lot of FaceTime with you. And this dude, I feel like, would get exposed after a bit. Maybe not.
Application.
Ironically, he's the one who passed. I didn't. So,
the normal onboarding process, interviewing, onboarding, and everything takes about 9 months, 9 to 18 months. My process took 6 months because.
Okay. So his process took 6 months. This is what I want to show. I definitely want to get to this. Okay. 45, sorry. Okay, I'm going to go to this tab. I think it's early. Fuck. What did I do with that? Sorry, I got to get I got notes all over the place. I'm like a fucking crackhead with these notes. Okay. 518. Okay. What did he just say? Let's go back.
Bad history in the military.
Yeah, correct. So the normal application, the normal onboarding process, interviewing, onboarding, and everything takes about 9 months, 9 to 18 months. My process took 6 months because I already had the clearances. I already had the SF-86 completed. All of my blood records, all of my medical history, everything was right there. So all they really needed to do with me was just put me through the psych evals and the intelligence tests, and et cetera.
Yeah. Medical. I mean, it is, believe me, the process is incredibly intrusive. I don't remember if I had, as a military guy, you got your medical records handy all the time. So I don't remember if I had to give them medical records or not, or I'm sure I gave them access to, in fact, I know I did. It's an intrusive process. Okay. So his process took 6 months, right? Now, let's go to this. This is from 1 month ago. This is big think. This got 535,000 views, 8.2 million subs. Look at the way this dude, you're wearing capri pants. God. Oh, you're getting chunky. Okay. This is a month ago. This is what he said about his process.
From the military to adopt CIA, you have to take every application you've ever made from the military to a job and throw it out the window. Because the average application and interview process for CIA takes about 18 months. In fact, if you're a very qualified, high-performing candidate.
Because, of course, just like he was so high-performing out of the academy that they put him in flight school, even though he didn't want to be in flight school. He was so fucking overperforming that he went to nukes. He was so overperforming that on Sean Ryan 2 years ago, he said he was a bad soldier, even though he was an Air Force officer. There are some mistakes that they're making that make me start to actually wonder if this dude is a plant. Because there's some mistakes that are being made that I'm like, you know what? I wonder if that would be made. Okay, but here you go for him.
The best you can do is about 9 months. My own application process took about 11 months. And
oh, by the way, your process has zero to do with your performance. How long the process takes from it. I don't know how long. I would say a few months until I got contacted from when I would say 6 months from when I got, no, less than that. By the time I got face-to-face, from first contact to face-to-face was months. It was a long time. Yeah, 11 or 6. It's weird, right? Because those aren't even remotely close. It's not like 5 months. Well, I said 6 months, but, 5, 6 months, whatever, same. 11 months or 6 months? And again, at what point do you stop accepting this dude's lies? These aren't lies for cover. There's no cover in existence. Well, I shouldn't say this. They wouldn't have, part of your cover wouldn't be to lie about how long your process worked. Part of your cover wouldn't be to lie that you were decorated in Iraq and Afghanistan. It just wouldn't be part of it. This dude just lies. This one is a doozy. This one is a doozy.
Over the course of that time, you are exposed to more and more intrusive, personal, and high-stakes interview styles. Sometimes
they are very low-key. Every single face-to-face interaction I had was low-key to the point of beyond milquetoast. That it was hard to get a gauge sometimes on these guys because of what they were what they were looking at me for. I was getting, it was case officers who like retired or whatever and were contractor. Now they do the interview process. And so I was in front of case officers and they were so dull. It was really hard to get a gauge sometimes. But no, they're not high stress. They're not high stress. You don't get stressed until, again, I wasn't CIA, but knowing how DOD works in the same shit, you don't get stressed until you're training. Then you get stressed.
Sometimes you're doing role plays. Sometimes you're taking psychological batteries that take multiple hours. Sometimes you're doing group or panelist interviews where you're being peppered by a panel of people.
First of all, it was over the course of, I don't remember how many days, but it was less than 4. I believe it was 3. I believe it was 3 to 4 days. They run you through a battery of tests and a battery of exercises. And at the same time, you're moving through a process of face-to-face interviews. Nobody would want to. It was so hilarious. I was back from Afghanistan. Oh no, I had not gone to Afghanistan yet. I don't think. Fuck, I don't remember. No, I did. I hadn't. But I'm an outgoing guy, obviously. But I'm sitting. You're sitting in this like lobby area, and they come out and they call your name. And it's a bunch of people, and nobody wanted to make, like the recruits. I was like, hey, how's it going? Nobody wanted to talk. They were afraid to talk to anybody or look at anybody. Every single person, he makes a claim in one of these things that he went to the interview in a club shirt. I don't know what, I imagine that's a lie. Everybody was wearing suits. It was kind of hilarious. And then you're in a skiff, so there's no electronics. So you literally just have to sit there and you're like, when was the last time I read Sports Illustrated?
That you've never talked to before. And that's not counting all the things they're doing behind the scenes, pulling your digital footprint, looking at your police background, looking at your personal finances, looking and reviewing your health history and your family history. There's an incredible amount of activity that goes into.
Okay, we've talked, remember how we've talked so far about his family? It comes up again. You're not going to believe it. It's a different story.
identifying the right kind of people that can be trusted to carry out a secret mission somewhere else in the world on behalf of the US federal government. The reason CIA uses this escalation of intrusive interview style.
First of all, they don't. They dig deeper into your life because it costs money to do these background checks. They send people out. They dig into your shit. That costs money. And there's no reason to do that if they're not going to hire you.
Is for two.
Some of this shit just common sense that it's so weird that he doesn't. It
reasons. One, they're looking to identify the specific soft skills that exist in the right candidate. The person who can think on their feet, the person who's resilient, the person who is creative. But then simultaneously, they're also looking for the person who's unwilling to share certain secrets about themselves. Where's the person that's too private to share secrets about the affair they had with their spouse? Or where's the person that's keeping so many secrets they're afraid to talk about the fact that they're broke or even in debt in their credit cards? Where's the person who's not willing to talk about their child abuse? Where's the person who's unwilling to share a secret about cheating on an exam in college? Because if somebody's willing to keep one secret during the interview process, you know you can't really trust that person to become loyal to the organization.
Well, that's weird from the guy who fucking changes his story every fucking other platform. That's what I was saying. So I was saying, this guy's a high, we've been saying it. Kaiser, fucking, Ernie, low-level scammers. They're just low-level shit-heel scammers. This dude, Tim Kennedy, Shrek, basically. I don't know. Something feels different with the Shrek stuff, doesn't it, though? Still bad. I'm not saying good, but it doesn't quite feel like Tim Kennedy shit, but I guess it is.
When they have to collect secrets of different types that relate to national security and national security policy. I often joke that I was the accidental recruit to CIA because I was not a great college student. I was not a great high school student. I came from the military, but I was not a good soldier. I really don't understand.
I was just thinking about the military claims. No, the personal shit is horrific. The personal shit is terrible. Yeah.
And even now to this day, why it was that CIA took such an interest in me when they did.
Also Shrek was at the pinnacle of the top of his profession. And it does a disservice to, first of all, just to talk. Those Delta guys, they just don't talk. They talk more now, but if you still hear it, like there was stuff watching an anti-hero podcast where I could tell Brent wanted to say some stuff, but he would rather not put Delta business out there than stack another win against Shrek. Like he was laying off a bunch of shit that he obviously he could tell, and he kept saying, "I don't want to be P&G from the unit. I don't want this." To me, that made it sound like that's a soldier right there. That's the dude who's like, I'm not. I could get YouTube clout if I start talking this shit, but I'm gonna leave it be. Yeah, that was good.
But my process was one of the most fun processes I've.
The flip side for this dude is he is literally on every single podcast that is ever, and he's just wearing the shirt.
Had in my entire life. As an Air Force officer, I was in command of nuclear missiles, which meant I was one of the people sitting underground pointing missiles all over the world, knowing that if I turned my key, I would end human life in some place. So when the time came for me to leave the Air Force, I wanted to do something that was the polar opposite of nuclear missiles. So I found myself applying to the US Peace Corps. And it was during that application process to the Peace Corps that my resume was actually flagged.
I don't believe this, but
flagged online for national security. And
by the way, I went through the process in, I think I applied at the end of 2010, and it was 2011 when I found, 2011 when I found out. So that was the time frame that I found out I didn't get hired. I got the white letter of death, the single page. I was like, oh, this sucks. I was really hoping for an HR packet. Did you guys get the right guy?
Middle of my application to Peace Corps, I actually had a screen pop up on my computer that said, based on my answers to date in my application, I might qualify for other jobs in the national security sector. Would I be willing to put my application on pause? And like any other 27-year-old, when I heard that there might be an opportunity,
I don't know. I don't believe he's saying anything. Also, I don't know shit about nukes. I don't know shit. It must be. There must be some kind of fucking influence fund they are supporting this guy, because he also talks very pro CIA. There's something going on. There's definitely something weird with it.
Opportunity for me to do something else, I hit yes. And I said, yes, I am willing to put my application on hold for 72 hours to see what comes of this. And that's when I got a phone call one day later from a woman who didn't tell me her.
Again, my experience is way different. You are waiting, but whatever.
Her last name, and came from an unlisted phone number with a 703 area code, which is Langley, Virginia. And she invited me to Washington, D.C. to go through an application process that would vet me.
It's more than just Langley. He's just doing it to be cool.
For a possible role in national security. I didn't know at the time that I was being vetted for CIA. I got a set of plane tickets in the mail. I had a rental car sent to me in the mail. I was only given enough information to make.
That is similar to my experience, actually. They don't tell you. It isn't until you get face to face that you get told. That was my experience. They just kept saying a federal agency. That's all they would say. I mean, you knew who the fuck it was. I mean, the first phone call you get, 703 blocked or whatever, you're like, okay, it's weird. And then you're like, okay, was that them? It had to be them because nobody else acts this way. So admittedly on the first phone call, there was a bit of confusion, but also I had applied to a few different places. So, but it was pretty, by the second interaction with them, you know exactly who the fuck it is. They don't tell you until you're face to face, but you know who the fuck you're dealing with.
It another day, where my next hotel would be, where my next appointment would be. And that's kind of how I was carried along for the better part of 10 months as I went through test after test and interview after interview, where I was applying for and escalating through the process of becoming a CIA operative.
Sorry. I went too far.
That CIA taught me to understand later on were actually very viable things. Frustration and disappointment with society were actually very viable things that CIA taught me to understand later on. It taught me to understand that there really isn't a sense of fairness or transparency or honesty that human beings carry.
He really claims the CIA is unethical or immoral.
From place to place. It doesn't exist in church. It doesn't exist in the professional workplace. It doesn't exist there are codes of conduct and there are social. It was always very challenging whenever I saw hypocrisy or whenever I saw people go against the.
Sorry, this is annoying. I know. Oh, I'm sorry. That's where I was at. 1044. Okay. I was on the wrong thing.
How it is that the human its own dialogue, accept those offenses and move forward with its own narrative, its own dialogue. Learning that during my process at CIA taught me not only how to understand other people, but also how to understand my own life.
I kind of don't want to play too much of this one because I have a feeling this is but let's get to this. This is important because we talked about his family and this is a different story.
My own childhood trauma, my own relationship with my parents and my teachers and my professors and my peers, and understanding how I viewed the world and how the world viewed me gave me an incredible advantage that the CIA knew I needed in order to operate as a solo operator in the field.
You were a desk officer. All right.
How does becoming a CIA agent?
You were a fucking desk officer. What is it with these singleton missions these dudes talk about? You and Shrek? What? I hate to reference Nate, but he's a funny dude. What do you call him? Dualton missions.
Impact your personal life.
One area that's very personal to me that CIA really helped me understand was the area of personal relationships. When I was a child growing up in a house where my father had died early and my mom remarried multiple times, it was very difficult for me to maintain and really invest myself into personal relationships. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't really trust my teachers. I didn't even really trust my parents. And I learned later on that when I became part of CIA, one of the things CIA asks all officers to do is sever previous relationships.
It's one of the dumbest, most ridiculous fucking things to say.
Tell him Derek Savage say you're a liar.
God damn it. No, they don't. They do not.
To just cut them off, break them off, stop investing in them, because when you drag the past into your future, you leave yourself open to vulnerability. Where I anticipated that my peers at CIA would have a hard time turning off all those old relationships, canceling old college friends, getting away from their cousins, getting away from their parents. What actually happened is that we welcomed that invitation. And I was one of those people who absolutely welcomed an excuse to terminate all of my old military friends, to jump off of social media, to stop answering email, to change my phone number, to change my address, and not even tell my parents where I was moving to.
Holy shit. That is all a lie. Now, do I believe that he cut? You have a combat deployment to Iraq, a combat deployment to Afghanistan, yet you cut all. I mean, listen, if you had PTSD, yes, you cut people off. I get it. I do it. But they don't ask you to do this. In fact, to give you an idea, when I was in the middle of their process, I was already heading for a scheduled deployment to Afghanistan. They're like, yeah, go to Afghanistan. We'll finish up when you come back. By not hiring me. Fuckers. Cocksuckers. This is such bullshit. Also, how weird is it that you want to break ties? Why would they want you? They want somebody that can network with people. First of all, they don't want just somebody they want you. This is ridiculous. Yeah, where he won awards. Again, all you have to do is fucking Google Andrew Bustamante military record, just military, and it'll pop up. Everything that pops up says Iraq, Afghanistan combat vet. CIA, if this is you for real, there's a reason that it was fucking didn't like working with you, because your shit sucks.
It was this welcomed opportunity to reset life and have a plausible, explainable reason for yourself.
How is it, in what way is it plausible or reasonable that you just cut yourself off from literally everybody and what, nobody takes notice? This is what bothers me about this, that, and kind of anybody that knows this shit, is you do things to not alert attention. Cutting everybody off immediately alerts people's attention. Not ever being on social media. Now it's changing a little bit, but for a while there, to not have any kind of thing, it would draw attention, to the point where CIA actually put out a fucking study about social media. They had some dev group dudes get fucking catfished from they had a CI problem, an Iranian fucking agent. They threw a hot Iranian chick at a bunch of fucking hungry dev group dudes, and yep, they got compromised. And but they came up with this whole thing they were telling about, like, and again, this is just this for DOD. We got it too. Is like social media shit. This is fucking ridiculous.
It's justifiable because you're going to go and
you don't have. It's not Gayson Bourne. Actually, I take that back. It's Gayson Bourne. Gayson Bourne here. You don't wipe your memory and wipe your whole goddamn life. Besides, somebody with no connections will sell out a motherfucker because he has no loyalty to anybody. He doesn't give or get respect from anybody. This is your therapy. Him and his wife used the CIA as their therapy tools. It's fucking hilarious.
Invest your life into keeping Americans safe. What better justification? What better rationalization?
What better rationalization? So that is 3 different stories about where are we at here? Hour 50. Cool. We're going to finish up with Fags, former Action Guys podcast. But during this, we have heard 3 different stories about his family. I didn't show you his real birth date. I'm not looking to dox the guy. But easy open source tools will get you his birthday. He is out there, and it's not what he had here. It's not what he had here. He didn't grow up Cuban. He didn't grow up, or did he? Did he grow up in Miami? Again, CIA, all of this was from a Google. So if your cover office can't fucking figure this shit out, bad news. Bad news. By the way, you could say, oh, he was doing all of this to lie. Okay, that's fine. But again, he wanted to hide his CIA cover. Okay, but then it's former CIA officer. Former CIA officer. Okay. Doesn't mention his military, though. Does not mention his military.
To see if I was able to carry my own in the job.
That's true. You know, you did come out, you said you had a TSSCI, which obviously a majority of people aren't leaving the military with that high of a clearance. So that obviously puts you in a different kind of category there. You know, what would you say to someone that's considering that as an option after they leave the service, or just in general? How should they approach it? You know, how should they approach the whole application process, or even trying to?
Okay, this is good. This is a dude, what he is about to say here is, this is a dude who was a Air Force Academy graduate, Air Force officer, who, depending on where he's at, let's say he was a lieutenant or a captain. 4 years for captain, could be, whatever. Let's just say he made captain. Listen to how he talks about this. So this is his advice. This is his advice for military guys that want to go into the CIA.
Get recruited or something like that. What sets them up to be a better candidate for the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are active duty and you're looking to get into CIA specifically, then I would talk to your intelligence, your J3 outfit at your base.
The fuck? Talk to your J3. The reason he understands the reason he understands J3, it's weird that he doesn't know J2. First of all, that's joint. No, you're not at a joint unit. You're at maybe he was, because he was the missile fucking people. Maybe it was a joint command. No, you have an S2, a G2 general level. S2 is regiment and below. G2. Yeah, J3, because he was in plans at the CIA. There's weirdness with this. There's all a bunch of weirdness. How do you spend that much time? Is it about standard time? Yeah, let's say he's a captain. That makes it worse. The dude is a captain, and he doesn't know that J3 isn't your intel shop.
Because it's almost guaranteed they have a CIA contact.
No, they do not. The fuck? I need a fucking joint. I need to reinvigorate my stoner so I don't fucking... You know what? Then call me a sinner, motherfucker. Then call me a sinner. I just had emos the other night. Call me a fucking sinner then. I don't give a fuck. Also, I don't mind pineapple on my pizza. I don't normally do it. It's never my choice, but I don't really mind it. It's good with sausage.
May not be able to say who it is, but they will for sure have a contact there.
No, they won't. Even, by the way, he didn't just misspeak. I'm going to play this. He specifically says J3 one more time. This isn't, oh man, I meant J2. Of course I meant J2. That's stupid. Why would I say it? No, he says J3 twice.
So you can talk to anybody in that J3 unit and say, hey, I'm up for leaving and I want to cross train into military, or I want to cross train into CIA. You know, can you put me in contact with your CIA counterpart? That's an easy way to do it.
Listen, go to the website. Go to the website and apply.
Do it. If you don't have a J3, or if you don't know where the J3 sits, talk to whoever the commander is of your unit and tell your commander, frankly, I'm trying to go into CIA. It's what I want to do.
How does this dude not know shit about the military? How is this fucking possible?
I want to have that application process, because everybody in the military is going to be just one step away from a CIA point of contact for every military unit. It doesn't mean that CIA contact is well placed or well.
Then what the fuck are they there for then? First of all, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. You don't have a J3. If you're in the hey, military people, if you're in and you're listening to this right now and you are legitimately thinking about going to the CIA, I think it's a good idea. I would suggest, truthfully though, that you look at Defense Intelligence Agency, that you look at DOD or military intelligence. That would be my recommendation. But if you like the SEAL, because everybody loves this fucking CIA SEAL, which admittedly it carries weight, then don't listen to a single thing this motherfucker is saying. Keep your fucking nose clean, get some fucking travel in, and get good grades. Be a good person. There you go.
Plugged in, or even dedicated to that airbase, to that military base, but you'll have somebody that's just 2 steps removed from where you are. The average civilian doesn't have that. So
neither does the fucking military. There's no CIA rep, liaison, LNO, whatever you want to call them. There's no CIA LNO and fucking liaison officer at every fucking base. Are you insane? I mean, at some point, you're either lying or you're stupid. To use Adam Carolla's phrase, you're either lying or you're stupid. Which is it?
So try to make that contact and at least have a sit-down conversation with that person about the realities of that lifestyle, the realities of that workforce, and they will be able to help vet you as to whether or not you are a reasonable candidate to be undercover or to be overt, to be an analyst or to be a technician or whatever else it might be. It's very helpful. For sure, you're not going to get into CIA.
Now, look, does an academy, do the service academies have a CIA rep? I'm sure that would make sense to me, or they have somebody that I forget what they call them when they're like they're not like CIA, but they're representing them or something. That would make fucking sense.
Clandestine service, their DO, as it's called right now, unless you have a college degree. So if you're on the fence about a college degree, but you want to go professional intel, you got to get a college degree. And then once you have, that's the first thing they're going to ask you. If you talk to a CIA representative, they're going to ask right out of the gates, do you have your college degree?
No, but you do need a degree. Yes, very true. Right out of the gate, my experience was different, but whatever, same. You need a degree. No matter what you think about it philosophically, whatever the importance of it. Look, my degree didn't mean the school I went to, Cal State Monterey Bay. Nobody gives a fuck about. They just wanted me to have the degree. It's stupid. I get it. It's dumb. But it's what you got to do.
Because they know if you want national clandestine service, undercover traveling the world, you have to have a college education to do that. Just silly government bureaucracy, right? But that's just the way they see it. So those are the two things I would absolutely recommend.
I've posed a question to multiple Marine Corps officers on here about, because they also require a college degree to become an officer, right? In 2022, with the access of information that we have, the ability to go and learn about things, or even to go become a professional in a job that doesn't require college.
Okay, I think it's up here. He does.
The actual like field craft, and what kind of situations would you find yourself in on like a mission? Are you full up like the Americans? You know, do we have people like?
So okay, he's basically asking him, what was your field time like? Because he purports himself to be a field tradecraft certified fucking officer, to be a case officer. So what he's asking, this is what I'm saying. These aren't like simple little lies. They're not simple little lies.
Embedded into a country and living there, full cover. You know, there's got to be different.
What he knows he's doing, right? So what Andrew's going to do is what Andrew does is he takes it in and deflects it slightly, just off, to one, give him time to think about the lie, or to remember, to quickly refer his kind of rote memory thing.
Different levels of like cover stories, and different levels of like how I look from day to day. Can you kind of give us a little peek behind the curtain of what those different things are, how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So the term that you're looking for is tradecraft or field tradecraft.
Yeah.
But those are the tools, the skills that we bring as covert intelligence officers. That's the skill set that we bring.
A staff operations officer is in the DO. That's where they sit. They out of the Directorate of Operations or the National Clandestine Service. Same with if you think of DOD or DOD, military intelligence usually means Army, right? That's usually when you say I'm in military intelligence, you're Army intel. You say DOD, you're DIA, right? Like Wally worked at both. I went to schools with both, but I didn't. I only worked for military intelligence. But it's the same as, so DCS and NCS, National Clandestine Service, Defense Clandestine Service, all the same, and they're all set up the fucking same. And the whole point of it is to have plug and play people, and that targeting. So for example, like the targeting course I went through, 8 weeks. It was fun as fuck. It was hard. It was tough. And it's the same shit that so now once you become a certified intel community targeting officer, you can I think Wally went through the same thing. You can plug and play with any targeting, with anybody who needs a targeting person. Human targeting. Kinetic targeting tends to stay in DOD. Again, my experience.
To the operation, tradecraft. It's the craft, the trade and the tools of our trade. Mm-hmm. So, and you are correct that there are multiple different levels. So there's a lot of this can get into the classified realm. So I'm going to keep it I'm going to keep it sanitized, okay, so we don't get.
All right, let's see what he says here.
Sure, we don't get classified. But in essence, there's 3 levels, and the 3 levels are very, very tidy, very clean, very organized.
Shut up and sit down,
because
you
they
big
apply
bald
to the
fuck.
3 levels of cover identity. But then there's also a sister 3 levels of disguise. So I'll start with kind of cover first, because that was one of the areas.
That's not at all what he was asking. That's not at all what he was asking. I mean, the truth is, the guy sounds like the Spy Museum. I worked at the Spy Museum in DC. I worked there for what, a year and a half? I worked at the Spy Museum. This dude's, a lot of those guys, I was like, you do know that this dude's full of shit in this fucking exhibit you got going, right? They're like, you don't know what you're talking about.
That you went into.
But he sounds like the Spy Museum.
So the first, most basic form of cover is essentially just what we call a throwaway or a disposable cover. It's really
okay. Fuck him. This doesn't make any damn difference. Also, really, when you think of cover, you just need to think of cover for status, cover for action. Everything else threw in there, yeah, there are layers to whatever, but all right, hold on. Let's go back to him watching. Let's get back to him on Sean Ryan. Okay. So remember, let's go back just a tad here. He said he was a terrible soldier.
Was tent sex with a hippie chick somewhere in Africa.
Okay, here we go.
United States with a thin veil that it's NATO. I'm not sure how to put it in a more gentle way, but it's clearly a proxy war in.
Also, I never dealt with this guy as is. I mean, when you practice surveillance, when you practice trying to catch your surveillance, that's it. That's I never had to do with any disguises.
Ukraine, and who's dying? Ukrainians.
I don't mean like
let's talk.
Wear civilian clothes. I mean, I don't mean like I've definitely gone. You go low profile on some shit, sort of.
Talk about. We're gonna get into Ukraine too. Let's talk about your experience at CIA. Just a brief snapshot on what you were doing there, how you met your wife.
Yeah.
Maybe anything you can give us. Like I said, I don't want to get too into the weeds because I know most of it's still classified. So
yeah, absolutely. So I was recruited into CIA as I was leaving the Air Force. Now I was a horrible soldier, and anybody who knew me at the Air Force Academy, anybody who knew me in uniform, any friend or enemy or foe that I had ever had would agree that Andy, back then I had a different name, was not a good soldier. I didn't like to shave. I didn't like to polish my shoes. I didn't like to wear a nice uniform. I didn't like the military. So it was really natural for me to want to leave when my service obligation was up. I was trying to go into the Peace Corps.
Again, I know this is repeating, but where are we at here? 2 hours and 6 minutes. We got 35 good motherfuckers on what is today? Thursday? On a Thursday, goddamn afternoon. Because we're talking intel. Maybe. Unlikely. Usually we just get these when we talk drama.
Oh my holy crap. Surveillance does. I hate those.
What are you gonna do?
In the end, I done some PCP.
Take advice from fucking losers? Fuck that!
Fuck that.
Because I'm a very simple creature, and all I really wanted at the age of 27 was tent sex with a hippie chick somewhere in Africa. That's all I wanted. There's a lot of 27-year-old guys out there that would give me a high five because they kind of want the same thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was aiming for. Tent sex with a hippie chick in Africa saving children. I'm 42 years old. I would still say that sounds like a pretty awesome ambition. So I'm applying to the Peace Corps, and in that application process, I get a tap on the shoulder from CIA. And CIA basically says, if you finish this application with the Peace Corps, you'll be disqualified.
Navigate these nuts.
That was my first, because those are two non-starters. Once you work at CIA, you can never do humanitarian work with the Peace Corps. Once you work for the Peace Corps, you can never do covert work with the CIA.
I did not know that. Why is that? Do you know?
Because they want to protect the humanitarian elements of the United States, and they want to protect them thoroughly and completely anywhere they go.
Again, how do you not know that that's not why that is? How do you not know that?
Okay. So there are certain covers that CIA will never use because they're primarily dedicated to humanitarian service, and they don't ever want humanitarians to be arrested on espionage charges.
Fuck.
So you will never find an undercover Peace Corps officer. You will never find an undercover religious magistrate. Like you'll never find a priest or a rabbi who's truly an undercover CIA officer.
So just to be clear, I don't know. This is a tough one to. You can have sources. Now, what he's really what he's confusing is protected types of sources. which you get, and the level that you have to get approval from to use a certain type of source, a certain category of source. I won't say what those are. I mean, he's, you know, he's listing some, but you just have to get higher level. Now, as far as that person, that clergyman being a source versus under a case officer who is using that as cover, these are kind of different things. He's conflating some different things. Now, you got to remember, he failed out of FTC 20 years ago. He failed in 2007, right? 2007, 2008, when he went in. He left the CIA in 2014. I mean, this guy.
Never see an undercover medical doctor or an undercover nurse, because these are protected categories.
But the other thing is, though, is a lot of this is pretty baseline shit too, which is how I know it, because I got taught baseline shit. Like, that's to be able to run. I had the level 2 military source handler. So what that is I was able to run clandestine missions with supervision, meaning I couldn't just, you know, it's not like a plus not singleton. That doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean like somebody had to be there right there with me. It was that you're authorized to work clan missions under approved operations. You're not able to like do your own, that kind of shit. But you get taught you get taught a bunch of this shit. That's why I recognize it. It's the same. It's all the same shit. It's all the same shit. I hate to tell you, this tradecraft is the beauty in it is its simplicity. The execution is the hard part. The execution is the fucking hard part. But the simplicity and what it is and what it's meant to do doesn't really change that much.
And CIA wants the whole world to know that they are protected, so that, you know, China, Russia, North Korea, Syria, Iran will never arrest a doctor and accuse them of being a spy.
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense.
So that's...
Does it make sense? Because the source who brought the fucking JSOC and all that shit onto fucking Bin Laden, I mean, it was CIA, it was Omega, but like, it was CIA guys, right? But brought CIA into fucking Bin Laden was a doctor. I'm surprised. What do you guys think? I mean, it'd be weird if you're in Sean's position on a podcast like this. Like, do you confront them or do you encourage them? Like, do you call them out? Like, wait, what? Because Sean was GRS with the agency.
That's why they do it that way. So that's why there's such a hard divide. So what I wasn't realizing at the time is that all the things that made me interested in the Peace Corps were also personal interests that were attractive to CIA. If you're going to go into the Peace Corps, you're going to be risk tolerant. CIA wants people who are risk tolerant.
This is such bullshit.
You want to see the world. CIA wants people who want to see the world. You're not intimidated by foreign cultures. You're not intimidated by foreign language. You're not intimidated by, long bouts of loneliness. CIA wants all of that too.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm just trying to show you. I'm not calling the dude stolen valor. I'm not. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. I'm not saying the opposite. That Afghanistan and Iraq shit. Kind of feels, I mean, there's 40 people in here. Like I said, maybe 200 people will fucking watch this video. He's not answering this shit. He's not worried about this kind of shit. He's not worried about somebody like me. But this feels fucked up. And then again, if it's a CIA fucking operation that somehow is happening, it's sloppy. It's sloppy as fuck. And I don't give a fuck if we busted it. But also, we didn't bust anything. Come on. We didn't bust anything. If anything's going on, there's some kind of money behind it. He's got some kind of angel investor sort of situation, I bet. here's fucking $3 million. Get you got a great idea. Get this bitch off the ground. Boom. And then pay to play on these podcasts. I know one of them that I found was a pay to play podcast, meaning you pay and you can be on the show. So probably pay to play a bunch, probably infused with a bunch of fucking money.
Right. So it's a natural recruiting ground for the agency to basically be looking at people who are interested in other career fields that.
No, he was in 27, or not 27. I'm sorry. 07. He left. He was in active duty Air Force 03 to 07. Top was able to verify that. And Air Force Academy, Air Force Cadet, and 3 or 4 years of active duty Air Force. That has been verified through DoD database.
Closely parallel what a CIA officer would encounter.
Manpower database, by the way. And you're not going to believe what name it was under. It was under his full name with his actual date of birth. So.
Okay. What is it about you that you think they found interesting?
To be very honest,
I mean, I'm not saying they paid Sean. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if any at all, if people were involved in information operation in this kind of shit. I mean, why not? It'd be stupid if they weren't. Of course they're involved in this kind of shit. Everybody's plays fuckery with this. So I'm not saying, who knows where the money came from? You never know. Somebody took a flyer and like, hey man, let's develop this doofus as a source. And then basically like as an influence source. He doesn't need to collect intel on Joe Rogan or anybody, but you could see him as like, oh yeah, hey, we can push our fucking messaging through him. Yeah. The key. Do they really still wear those keys around their necks, by the way? That sounded fake.
I think they knew I was brown. I think they knew that I was an Air Force Academy graduate, right? So from the time that I turned 17, my entire life has been.
It's weird, isn't it? He feels like he should have been. I was picked because I was special. They had access to all of my government shit. I hate to tell you this. They do not. That's not how that works. You have to sign specific releases. The CIA can't just go into a military academy's databases and just get their information looking for recruits. It's ludicrous without even having been involved. You guys can hear it. It's fucking ludicrous. No, they don't just have access to your information like that. You applied. Why would you be a good candidate? You just said you were a shitty soldier, even though you were an Air Force officer.
In service to the federal government. So there were no surprises here. They knew.
I'm starting to change my mind. I believe the CIA would come up with this idea. Fuck glazing those dorks. Fucking Brooks Brothers suits. They would definitely do something like this. The only thing that gets me is the line. But the other thing too is when you recruit a dude like this to do shit, which he wouldn't necessarily be a terrible source, and you'd have to work with him on some shit, but he wouldn't be the worst. I just mean hitting the thing. Now, placement and access, forget it. He doesn't have placement and access to any kind of sensitive shit that you need or want. But to people, maybe. Yeah, I could see them being like, hey, let's develop this doofus. But again, he's like, they saw that I was brown, that I was an Air Force Academy. It's like, well, okay, first of all, that's all shit that you put in on your application when you apply on the internet.
They knew my drug history. They knew my medical history, my dental history. They knew my family upbringing. They knew my grade point average. They knew everything because I had gone to a military college and then I was a military officer. So put those things together plus the fact that I majored in Chinese at the Air Force Academy. I had traveled to China in the Air Force Academy.
Wait, I want to go back on that for a second, because he does change. This stuff does change his story a bit. This changes. They were looking at China. No, he's CIA. I believe he was CIA. I believe he was a staff officer. I do. I believe that happened. I believe it was a time when they had a surge in people that they were hiring, or at least looking at. And, you know, you come out of the Air Force, an academy grad, your clearance is already there. They do their own clearance shit, by the way. They don't just trust whatever is given to them by DOD. But it does help when you already have your TSSCI clearance. It does help. And it's short because it shortens the background time, is what it does. It just shortens your how long it takes to onboard if you get hired. Unlike me. If you don't get hired, it takes forever. But no, I believe he was CIA. I believe it. I just believe that he was a staff officer, a desk officer, like he has said himself. I'll take him at his word. But he likes to try and portray that he was a fucking operations officer, that he was a case officer, and he wasn't.
You know, they had my scores. They knew that I was a top performing linguist. They knew that I was a top.
Of course, you were a top performing linguist. Of course, you were a cunning linguist. Yeah. Oh, but what I was going to say with a dude like him, though, is you're like, okay, this dude has a propensity to lie. He lies. He definitely plays fast and loose with the truth. Coupled with lying. So you would have to be aware, and you're like, oh, no. You know what? It'll throw people off. It looks amateurish, so people won't believe it's us. I could see it. I'm actually kind of the way his addresses and his voting records and all of this like go to different addresses and shit, like it did kind of make me wonder. I mean, and why not? I mean, what's the big burn? What is the fallout? So say you give this dude, I mean, he's getting on big podcasts. So you say you fucking angel invest this dude, because he has talked about sitting in DC talking to investors and shit. He has mentioned that. He didn't mention it in reference. He mentioned it in reference to a CIA job, not to this. But now that I remember and thinking about it, he mentioned sitting with investors. I could see this being an IO campaign. Somebody's like, hey man, I'm an investor. I'm interested. I like what you're doing. Here's $2 million. Make it the fuck happen. I could see it. And then you have deniability. Like, why would we be so stupid to put a dude who lies like this out there? And then what's the fallout? There's no fallout. I'm kind of beginning to think it maybe is something.
Performing.
I can talk myself into a lot of shit.
Humanities student. Like there were certain elements that they already knew because it was on paper and that was known to them.
And you obviously already had a very high clearance if you're on the nuclear program.
Correct. And as a nuclear missile officer, I knew where our nukes were pointed. I knew whose nukes were pointed at us. I knew, and I had TSSCI, Cat 6 and.
What the fuck difference does that make? Those are just compartments. Those are fucking caveats that you have, by the way. Why would you need those why would CIA care about that? You don't need those to get hired. You need the SEI with the SIGINT and HUMINT and all that caveats, but you don't need this other shit.
12 clearance, which is a 9-month process to get a TSSCI. So by hiring me, they basically shortcut.
That's not the thing they do. They don't do that though. They don't do that, which is annoying, to be honest. Which is annoying. But this dude lives in a weird world where it's the Tim Kennedy thing. It's like, yes, you were a special forces guy. Yes, you were this. Or Shrek. You were these things. But also, then you just lied.
Cut 9 months of my recruitment because I already have the clearance.
Yeah. So you got in.
So it cut 9 months of your recruitment. So now it started with 6, went to 11, now it's 9. Because you said it's 18, cut 9 months off. Or is that because you were an overachiever? Or is that because you were such a high-flying CIA recruit?
What did they have you doing?
So that's where things start to get kind of sticky. So I got in, I became a member of the National Clandestine Service, the NCS at the time. It's now called the Directorate of Operations, goes back and forth. I came on board through a program at the time that was called it's called CST. What is that? Clandestine Service Trainee, I think is what it was called.
Yeah. That's your status. You're a CST. It
was basically the old guys who come in to be spies. The young guys who come in to be spies.
This is what I don't get. No, this is wrong. This is just wrong.
Are in a different program. So because it takes them longer to train. But for us, we had life experience. So they kind of put us on a short track.
Everybody shut up about the Iranians. Richard 18, heavy dick. What's going on, brother? Hope you're good out in the world.
And I went through that training plan, got my field training done, got all of my weapons training done, my driving done, do all the training stuff that's pretty cool and fun. And then you start.
I got to find it. I sent it to Hippie and Top. I found this one where he said he got trained to the CIA, trained him to fly a helicopter. To fly a helicopter. Also, notice how he didn't say, I graduated FTC. He doesn't say that. He's smart because he didn't graduate FTC. That's why he keeps talking about it. And I could be wrong, but my gut feeling. And listen, we're just here for speculation. That's all we do. Fucking speculate, talk a little shit. Call out bullshitters like this because this shit isn't fucking true. And if you don't have a strong fucking moral fucking compass and you go into some of this shit, it's going to fuck you up. They want people who have strong moral compasses, not people that are squishy.
Actually doing the work. And a lot of my work was focused in the third world.
And that's not just CIA. That's any intel. That's any of the intel shit. That's any of the intel. CIA is not the only people, obviously.
To start. So a lot of stuff in Africa, a lot of stuff in South America, a lot of stuff in Southeast Asia.
You managed to do this as a desk officer?
And that was my primary focus, was doing kind of what I call the dirty work. There's a lot of dirty work in intelligence, dealing with scumbags, terrorists, narco traffickers, drug dealers, whatever else it might be, people who pose threats to your national security.
Oh my God, I gotta find this. I've been listening to too much. This will be enough for me. Been listening to too much of the dude, but we'll finish this. But there's one where he's talking about he was in Africa sitting with a warlord who had a boy come up to him and rub his arm and like to the chief, the warlord's arm, and he's like, so I gave the guy 2 hours, and he goes, give me 3, laughing. He's like, then you just got to put like you don't just have to put up with a child rape, by the way. You don't have to just put up with that shit. Also, you're lying.
Security, but they don't pose long-term threat to your national security. After a few years of that,
it is absolutely zero the way it works. It's zero the way it works. This I can tell you 100% certain. This is on 100%. I've mentioned it before. You get a group of people for whatever it is. I worked Africa, right? My last from 2011 to 2018. I worked Africa. So when they had the big meeting, there's like 10 people at the table, basically from state to CIA, DIA, military, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they parse out like, okay, here's the fucking Security Council's fucking priorities. The priorities come down from the White House. And then based on those priorities, then they divvy up who collects on that shit. And a lot of times it's two. It's like, okay, CIA and state, you guys are working together on this. blah, blah, blah. Military intelligence, you guys are on this, that part of it. Yeah, it's all, it doesn't happen like that. By the way, I worked counter narcotics. I've told the story 100 times. Did 2 trips to Mexico to teach Mexican special operations and intel people targeting, the human part of targeting. We had a SIGINT person and an all source person as well. And one of our targeters had done it with Omega in Afghanistan. He was top notch. So if you know who that is, I'm not trying to fucking name drop, but what am I doing? Who cares? It was a good team, man. We had a good group of fucking people. We went down there, trained these dudes. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Had some good stories.
My wife was kind of running a similar path. I came on as a human intelligence officer, a field collector is what I came in as. My wife came in as a targeter. A targeter is a different skill set, but still in the same NCS, the National.
Thank you, Coke Dog, and thank you for coming by. It's always good to see you around. It is always good to see you around.
I'm trying to give you guys a place to come.
Clandestine service. Now, after we met and started dating, that intramural relationship isn't as uncommon as some people think it is. But after we married and started dating, there was an issue that popped up at CIA that's still very sensitive. I'm in the process of trying to get myself clearance from the agency to talk about it publicly. But there was an issue at the agency that forced the agency to move us, and not just us, but other people like us, out of third world, garbage.
Really? Because in the video we watched the other day that you just put out the other day, you said you got pulled out because you got burned by a mole. Because your whole book that you just published, Gay Ass Shadow Cell. How to grow your hair and fuck dudes. Fucking goddamn, dude. I didn't watch this far yet. I'll take that one as a, So there was a program to pull you and people like you from third world countries. Now, mind you, the latest this could happen is 2014. The latest, by his own thing, by all accounts, it seems 2014 is when he left. Right? 2014. But the other day, it was a mole. The marriage molesty.
Slinging and into something called hard targets. Hard targets are those targets that pose a long-term threat to the United States. North Korea, Russia.
How can you just, I mean, literally, you just said, I'm trying to get clearance to tell you about it. Like, okay. And then he just goes and tells you. I got pulled from the field. Why would you need anything more than that? Why does it have to be some kind of thing? Yeah, something was going on. I rotated out of the field and got rotated onto fucking hard targets. Oh, and by the way, here are the list of hard targets. I mean, it's stupid. You can guess what they are, but it's also, they say it all the time. But holy Jesus, dude. I don't understand how Sean didn't pick up on this.
China, Belarus, these countries that pose a long-term strategic threat to the United States are called hard targets. And they decided to move a number.
No, they are not. I'm sorry for stopping this, but holy fuck. No, that's not what hard target means. How do you not know this? I don't get how you don't know this. I mean, I get it. At this point, it's been 9 years since he's been out of the CIA. You are, I mean, once you're gone from the intel world and you're not going into a skiff, forget it. You're getting passed by, which fine. Which for me, I'm happy. This guy hasn't been in the CIA for 9. This is crazy. Hard targets are not called that because of that.
Number of high performers out of the.
And I feel okay in telling you that Belarus is not on the hard target list. I feel comfortable in telling you that. I feel like I'm not sharing anything classified.
Third world and into these hard target jobs to fix the mistake that they had found themselves in. And that's how my wife and I ended up getting moved out of our roles doing third world work into roles doing very strategically relevant work.
Ooh, hoo. Oh, this is why I hate guys like this. This is why I hate fucking pogues. This is why I hate fucking pogues. Did you hear that? We got called out of third world nations. Africa is what he said, by the way. Okay. Africa to go do, third world countries to go do relevant. Oh my God, dude. I got told the opposite. I've told the story a bunch since we've been talking about it with him, but the lady who helped me, the CIA person who helped me the most during the interview, even, I was pretty far into it. She was like, Africa, go to Africa. And then, yeah, do stuff in Africa. It's fun. Nobody's looking. You get a bunch of shit done. You build. And so then I didn't do it through CIA. I ended up doing it through military intelligence, through Army intel. But yeah, I immediately went to, in fact, even after I got turned down, I put in for a job at Africa branch. And it was a great call. It was a fucking great call.
And that's where we ended our career. What is how my wife and I and high performers out of the third world and into our pose along.
Oh, again. Oh my God, again. I didn't notice it the first time. They pulled high performers out of the third world countries to go do relevant, strategically relevant shit on Belarus. Holy Jesus. And how big of a fuck you is it to fucking Africa hands? I never went there. But I feel a connection to, it was a small group of fucking people. I helped write a paper that basically said it was the equivalent, it was the coup equivalent of OJ saying, if I did it. I wrote a paper on, well, if this government was to get overthrown, here's what it would look like, and here's what we should do. And we had cultivated a whole network of motherfucking people. I got Wally in on it. It was great. It was fucking awesome. So I feel a connection to fuck you, dude. Belarus.
Long-term strategic threat to the United States are called Belarus states. North Korea, Russia, China, Belarus. These countries that pose a long-term strategic threat to the United States are called hard targets. And they decided to move a number of high performers out of the third world and into these hard target jobs. To fix the mistake that they had found themselves in. And that's how my wife and I ended up getting moved out of our.
Is it okay? So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's a douchebag. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt on the chronology of the story, right? So he got pulled out of a third. So in his thing, basically the video we watched before is him getting burned in country X, which was a hard target, but because he was such a big deal and such a high performer, which he never in his life has been a high performer, apparently, according to him. And then he gets plucked to fix but they got kicked out because of the mole thing. Belarus, Bahama. Fuck you. Well done. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Damn it, hippie. That's where you get paid the big bucks.
I say eat a dick and continue to enjoy your dick eating experience.
Roles doing third world work into roles doing very strategically relevant work. And that's where we ended our career.
What did you like better? Did you like the third world operations or first world?
You know, it's interesting. I liked them both, but for different reasons. Third world operations, you have to lean on your.
In 7 years, a desk officer in 7 years. I mean, this would be, his career would be crazy. Crazy. Again, never CIA, but DIA works the same. I work right next to them, blah, blah, blah. So I understand how this shit works. It would be nuts to have that kind of career in 7 years. First of all, you're on a year probation. You're on a year, at least a year probation, going around to different jobs. If you're going to be a targeter, then they have you go to different things so you understand all source and shit like that, right? It's a year before you even get to the farm. Before you even get to the farm. And then the farm is, you know, how long it is. And then you don't make it. So you, in 5.5 years, you were able to do all of this? I did rub shoulders. Wasn't one of them. Didn't care. Once you meet them, you're like, oh. No. That was a big, yeah, I wanted that. I wanted that fucking job. I did. There's no doubt.
Creativity and your risk taking. Like nobody is giving you a lot of oversight.
It's so racist on so many levels. It's so racist that it's not racist. Also, nobody cares if you're racist against Italians.
They just want you to get the mission done, right? This is the priority. We don't care how you do it, get it done. So there's a big emphasis on individuality. There's a big emphasis on results. There's a big emphasis on outcomes. First world operation.
Oh. Geez, crazy to bring strategic value to, so maybe we don't just hand over fucking the sub-Saharan trans-Sahel over to fucking China. You're a geopolitical doof. And fuck you. Good work got done there. And dudes died, by the way. And good dudes got killed there, by the way. Fuck you.
Hard target operations are different. There's a lot of oversight. There's a lot of weight in process instead of outcomes, right? Okay. But there's also much deeper pockets. So you're running way more sophisticated operations on larger teams. You're working with excellent colleagues because only the best get pulled into these hard target operations.
What a fucking douchebag. Oh my God. You were a fucking DC office pogue. Fuck you. You never even went to Africa either.
So sometimes you might be dealing with the guy that kind of fell off the back of the short bus when you're in a third world.
Okay.
But you're dealing with really top tier individuals when you're in hard targets. So I liked them both.
What? Oh, I'm glad. God damn it. I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to keep 3 hours as a hard, but this is too good. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh my God.
But differently.
Interesting.
I'm back of the short bus working with excellent colleagues. Right?
Okay.
But there's also much deeper pockets. So you're running way more sophisticated operations on larger teams. You're working with excellent colleagues because only the best get pulled into these hard target operations. So sometimes you might be dealing with the guy that kind of fell off the back of the short bus when you're in a third world.
Okay.
But you're dealing with really top tier individuals when you're in hard targets. So I liked them both, but differently.
Interesting. I never had the opportunity
to be full of shit like you. I haven't had that. Actually, no, I take that back. I have that opportunity every day. I'm Sean Ryan. And I'm choosing to not be full of shit. I don't know. I mean, Sean handles these guys. I mean, the point is to get people to talk, not to big dick them, which is why I wouldn't be a good interviewer at all. But like, it is
work very much in a first world environment. I enjoyed third world because it's so different.
Yeah.
You get to see how these people live and their way of life and the culture, and no matter where I was, it was just fascinating to see that, but
there's an element of third world operations that.
First of all, if you're a targeting guy or a hunter, you want to be in Africa. You want to motherfucking be in Africa. Nobody wants to bother with the other places. There's too much fucking hassle. Fucking Africa is fucking shoot, move, communicate, motherfuckers. Fucking hippie.
Why are you gay?
It really put you in touch with.
Why would you want more oversight? Why would you want to be on a bigger team? Everybody wants to be on a smaller team. Everybody knows in the history of knowing things. Everybody knows the smaller team is the more nimble, more advanced team. Everybody wants less oversight unless you're a fucking bitch like you. Only you want more oversight. Holy shit, no wonder you vote Democrat. No offense. Libs. I can't believe this. Oh, it was better with more oversight. Anybody who's been in that world already knows there's too much duplication already. And so then you want to get away from shit. You want more work. Fuck, give me all the work. Keeping people out of my hair? Fuck. I had a boss that was fucking incredible. I had two really good bosses working in Africa. And they just like, do your thing. Get it. I said, fuck yeah, let's get some. And then I drank myself out of the position. I shouldn't laugh. I'm embarrassed by it, but anyway.
With humanity. And that was something I valued. And I can sense that you're saying the same thing. You're saying it in a more politically correct way.
What are you going to do?
Because in the third world, you really see the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see how cruel and how devastating and how painful human suffering can really be.
Mm-hmm.
And you see people persevere through that. You also see lots of people take advantage of it, but you see it. And it's a visceral reminder that we are human beings, and at a certain level, we are just animals. But when you deal with really refined operations, when you only deal with first world problems, you're dealing with like 3 layers above that core humanity.
God, this dude is a fucking. You know what? I loved those dudes. I did. I'm like, cool. Go work on your fucking dumb shit with 50 other motherfuckers. Me and this dude over here are going to figure out how to overthrow this government. How about that? How about that? How in the fuck do you want that job but at the same time you want goddamn oversight? It means I don't.
Now it's all about when you only, and it's a visceral reminder that we are human beings, and at a certain level, we are just animals. But when you deal with really refined operations, when you only deal with first world problems, you're dealing with like 3 layers above that core humanity.
Fuck.
Now it's all about who you know, and it's what you wear and what words you choose, and how much money you're spending. The drug dealer who's out there.
Does he think, okay, I did hear this part. It's Josh at Station Peacoat coming in. She's been absent for a bit. She was like, fuck this show. I'm sick of this doofus. Coming in muy caliente con Dios Dolores. America, fucking. Is Josh a little intimidated by being out here? I am. And say whatever. He was a pogue in the CIA, but he did make it and I did not. So.
Cutting women open to stuff their breasts full of cocaine and turn them into mules.
What?
That's a despicable human being. But equally as despicable is the drug kingpin who sits in, at the head of some corporation 12 steps removed from that scumbag, who is the source of the funding and the source of the operational organization that makes that mule happen, even though they're in 2 separate categories as far as operations go.
That's a lie. That's not. you're an idiot. You're an idiot. No. Tradecraft is tradecraft. Doing spy shit is doing spy shit. All of that other shit is just flourishes, man. You don't do a more sophisticated fucking... Also, why... Who you can recruit and not recruit, or even... they call it operational interest, right? You submit operational interest. Hey, I got this dude who is... lying on the internet. I'm thinking I might want to try and develop him. So you have to put out an... It's not an IC wide, but people who do human, right? And then you put out a... Submitted, there's a cable goes out, and it's called I'm claiming operational intelligence. Once you have, or interest rather, I'm sorry. Once you have OI on it, then you can go forward. But depending on where you're at, what you're doing, like we had State Department step in on this thing me and Wally were doing that. I mean, this involved another guy too. 2, 4, there was 5 of us to include CIA. One person at CIA. Anyway, they came in and said, no, you can't go after this guy. We got him. He's part of our thing that we're doing over here. Wait. Anyway, now I lost it.
Interesting.
Oh, but where you go in an environment you're doing it in is just the environment you're doing it in. If you're more comfortable this dude is clearly more comfortable fucking sucking cock at headquarters than he is getting out in the field and fucking being a goddamn American hero, you know?
Very interesting. Well, let's move into, we've established your credibility. Let's move into, I appreciate it. Let's move into
that right there. That phrase, unfortunately, set off, I feel like, probably a chain of events with this couple. Sean Ryan vouched for them. This is a perfect ending. I'm going to end it. I know. I know. I was like, hey, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's just me. So I can convey a lot of information. Nope. Here we are 3 hours later. 32 good motherfuckers in here. I heard, if anybody is NSA material, raise your hand.
Oh my holy crap. Surveillance does. I hate those.
Good luck, motherfucker.
Goddamn right.
It's going to get hotter. Cracker.
What are you gonna do?
What the fuck are you gonna do? 34 now. Hanky, what's going on? Just getting off, man, unfortunately.
Fucking oath, mate.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on this guy. Again, look, this is all just for fun. You know what I'm saying? It's all for fun. How hilarious if we... By the way, we did not. I think this is just money. I think this dude paid his way in to get a seat at the fucking table with these guys at a time when the Jocko shit and Tim Kennedy and all these motherfuckers were out there selling their souls, telling stories and shit, and people were buying it. That's my guess. And then it just kind of got its own momentum. I don't know. I could be fucking way wrong, but there's a lot of inconsistencies that are not just throwaway inconsistencies. That aren't just throwaway fucking things. All right. What would you... So just to keep going with this game, and we'll end it here, but so now what you would want to think about is, let's just say as a thought exercise, that this dude does have placement and access to whatever, to something you want to, but you need to recruit him. Like, what would you start looking at? What would you want to start looking at? I mean, you would ego up the shit out of this dude. You would ego up. But I feel like you'd have to be careful, because he's going to want to try and be James Bond out there. Gay, fuck you. It's my job. His hair. I mean, he's really vulnerable. He is really he freaks out. So we know he freaks out very easily under stress. He's basically kind of failed upwards. Not in the traditional sense that we would think, but he keeps going and failing at shit, but somehow comes out. It bothers him that he didn't graduate FTC. So you would want to I would want to poke at that. And then I would make it our secret. Gay. Oh my God, that's right. And he's missing a lower tooth. I forgot to do the Tom Donovan.
Ground control to Major Tom. Your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom?
Hey, Stonevan, is missing a lower tooth Secret Agent Tradecraft? It is. It's Doofus Agent Tradecraft. This guy, Big Earn, so an operator knows an operator. Maybe I should ask Todd.
I'm trying to give you guys a place to come.
In the end, I done some PCP.
Did some fucking PCP. All right.
So we're
Tommy, you ain't getting your TV back. And fuck you.
Wait, is that me? Is it? Hold on a second. Is that me in your avatar? You fuck. Hold on, I don't have it up on YouTube. Hold on, I want to see this real quick. Dun, dun, dun. I guess I don't have to tell you to hold on. I have it up there. Oops, sorry. Oh, that's hilarious. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I'm glad you're not getting your TV back now, motherfucker. Oh, shit. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, this guy, I don't know. He's never going to answer any questions about it. He's not going to give a fuck. He's going to be like Sloan, right? Remember how Sloan said he was wounded in Iraq? Remember that? Andrea Sloan? Yeah. I don't know. Don't believe anybody on here, me included.
I want you to take the Frankenstein shit, the deer shit, the green monster, the bling, and the bling bling. And I want you to roll it all into one joint.
Which kills.
Here.
I'm good.
Racist.
No one's ever been brave enough to try that.
One man is. Roll it.
Not feeling super confident about this plan.
Here. Racist.
I'll smoke it with you, bro. We'll go to the loony bin together. I don't give a fuck.